Live, and we're live now. So we're now broadcasting. Hi, everybody. I've come for an impromptu live hangout tonight as Tom wanted to open a platform to have informed debates and discussions about flat Earth versus spherical Earth. It's not a problem. Yeah, if anyone's on, just turn it down a little bit. That's okay. It's not a problem. So yeah, this is an impromptu hangout. We're having a debate. We've got Tom Wilkinson from Disputable Reality and JCB. Sorry, my darling, what's the end of it? JCB?
Just use my real name. I'm called Brooke.
Brooke. Hi. Nice to meet you, Brooke. I'm Roxanne. Brooke, this is Tom. Tom, this is Brooke. And as I said prior, if everyone can just let everyone have their say, and try and keep it as calm, cool, and collected as possible, and as humiliative as possible. And can we just try? I'm not going to make a rule, but just try not to use profanity, because I think what we do is we lose the narrative of what we're saying when we start using profanity. Yeah. So I'm going to come off camera. I'm here all the time. I'm going to put my mic on mute, but I'm listening all the time. And if you need me, I'm here. I'm definitely here to mediate. If we get to any bits where we can't get past, I think what we'll do is if we can't get any further with something, I think it's probably better to agree to disagree and move on to the next point. Come back to it. Yeah.
Well, with me, right, I'm just going to let you
fire away.
Go on. I'm just going to wait for a prompt. So if you want me to say something, ask Brooke, and then I'll answer. I'm not going to talk over anyone basically until I'm asked.
Nice one.
Cool.
Right. We're going to start it now. Yeah.
Go for it. Go for it.
Right. The thing is with me, the angle that I'm coming at it from, mate, right, is that we're being taught things at school, right, and basically they're taking our imagination on a joyride. So the things that you learn at school, when you go to apply them to reality with using the scientific method, you don't get the same results as what you're taught at school, mate. So like, they're telling us, that we live on this magical spinning space ball that came from a random big bang, billions of years ago. So they're saying that intelligent life is an accident, right? That in itself is pure mockery of what we are, like, because this is an amazing, like what we're using right now, our brains are amazing, mate, and like there's no computer that we can match. Do you know what I mean? There's no computer you can match this type of technology to, and they want to say that it hasn't got a designer. So the angle that I'm coming at from, mate, is basically flat earthers, are literally using the scientific method to disprove the heliocentric model. So what you got to say about that?
Yeah, cool. Okay, right. I'll let you into a little bit about me. Okay, I won't go into big details, but I've been to lots of schools. Right, I was a naughty kid. Right, I was a clever kid. I was a genius kid. But I was hella naughty, right? So I got expelled constantly. My parents had to pay like 30 grand a year to send me to school. I didn't even last 1 year, so they lost all that money, right? So I got a good view of the education system in this country, both on a state level and on a private level. Literally going up to like, I went to Eton College when I was 12, right? Which is the most expensive school in the whole country. And I got expelled like 3/4 of a year in. So I got a good education there. And then compared it to the state school I went to next, right? So I understand what you're saying, and I actually agree with a lot of it, right? I am a believer in God. I was an atheist for like 25 years. Yeah. And I used to go to conferences, and I was really good. I was really compelling, man. I convinced so many, I feel bad for it now. I convinced so many people to not be Christians, to not give be into God, right? And then I had a near-death experience, and I physically was there in I call it the data portal, you know, the white room thing that the Matrix copied?
I
can't explain it. When people say, why did you suddenly turn and start believing in God? I can't give them any proof. I saw it, I was there, but I can't physically give that to anyone else. So it's a faith thing, a faith for me. But when it comes to the heliocentric model and the education system and stuff, what I like to do is separate out the flat earth thing from all of that, because that's why people argue, right? They get
definitely, mate. Go on.
Yeah, what we need to ascertain first. I've been trying to do this all year, mate. It's probably the same as you have. I've been trying to get someone to have a discussion with me without being rude and horrible. My thing is flat earth and gravity are two separate, non-exclusive things. So you can have gravity on a flat earth. You can have a flat earth with no gravity. You can have a round earth with gravity. You can have a round earth with no gravity. You can have a banana-shaped earth if you really want with gravity. The thing is about gravity is, if you know gravitational theory, the gravity field warps to the shape of the object. So basically, whatever shape the planet is, if it's flat, then the gravity field is going to be a flat linear thing. and if it's round, then the gravity field gets pulled into a circle. So what I'm saying is you can have gravity and still have a flat Earth. So if people start arguing about flat Earth and then say, oh, you can't have gravity, well, that is not true. You can have gravity. But when they start saying, oh, you know, there's got to be a spherical Earth because gravity, that's also wrong. They're two completely separate issues. So I think what we should stick to today is the flatness of the Earth, or not, as the case is, and avoid everything else. We can all the other stuff, but like you say, well, this is the thing, right? After this is my longest diatribe. After this, mate, I want you to say, Brooke, what do you think when you want me to speak?
Yeah. All right, mate.
Thing, right? I want to hear everything you have to say. I want to hear all your evidence. I don't want to talk for it as well. Really get into it and understand it, you know?
Right. I'm just going to say something, you know, like gravity itself is literally an unproven theory. Yeah, it's literally just a word that's used to describe why things fall. Now,
exactly that, right? But the thing
it's literally that, right? It's just a word. But the thing is about that word, it's being used to take people's minds on a joyride, because, like, we cannot observe anything. We cannot observe the magical force of this gravity. What we can observe is density, buoyancy, and electromagnetism. Yeah. Now, people are trying to say that them three together equals gravity, but that's not true at all, mate. Right? And the thing is, like I said, gravity has not been proven. It is an unproven theory. So to base the whole heliocentric model on an unproven theory tells me that, do you know what I mean? It's unproven. It's all unproven. It's all imaginary. And it's all done by the belief in this gravity that's never been proven. Like, things fall to the floor because they're made of they're denser than the air around it. The molecules of the object are heavier than the air around it, therefore they fall. The reason they don't rise is because they're not made of helium. Like, you don't actually need gravity. You can explain everything gravitational using density, buoyancy, and electromagnetism. So that's what
I've heard that.
That's my problem with gravity and people's belief in it, because the only proof that we live on this magical ball is an unproven theory called gravity.
Well, no, I wouldn't agree with that. I think, and the thing is, right, we'll start at the beginning. Things like density, mass, weight, volume, energy transfer, electrodynamics, thermodynamics, electromagnetism, all this stuff, right? It does actually, no, the last couple, electromagnetism doesn't, but all the other stuff, weight, density, mass, energy transfer, and motion, that all requires gravity to be calculated. So what I mean is, when you're working out the density of a given object, how do you work it out, right? And the way you work it out is you divide its complete surface area, i.e. the count of its molecules, by its area, you know, its size.
Yeah, so that's what I was just about to say then. Like, you just said everything that how would you demonstrate that? Like, because for something to be proven, you need to use the scientific method, which obviously consists of observable, testable, and repeatable experiments. Now, how would you demonstrate the force gravity to me? Because the only thing, like, you can only demonstrate density, buoyancy, and electromagnetism. You cannot demonstrate the force of gravity itself.
Let me explain to you why that's slightly incorrect, okay? And there's a thing about density. This is what I discovered recently, right? Density, there's two types of density, right? There's true density, which is an object's true accurate density, and there's bulk density, which is an approximate figure given based on a collection of objects that you count as one. So, like, a glass full of sand, you give that a bulk density, because when you're trying to weigh it, it's moving around and you're weighing some of the air and you might weigh some of the glass. Or there's another way you can do it. You can submerge the sand in water, weigh the water without the sand in it, with the sand in it. But all this stuff requires gravity to do. Do you know what I mean? Like weight, right?
But why though? Like, all you've just described to me there is density of different objects. It has nothing to do with gravity. This is what I'm saying. Like, nobody can demonstrate.
Let me finish density. I haven't finished describing density.
Okay, mate.
Right? Density is not a force. It's a property of an object, right? So, for instance, say I had a box full of marbles.
Yeah.
One of the properties of the box equals full of marbles, right? But the marbles on their own, they can't make that box move around, just because, you know, if you take some marbles out, the box isn't going to start moving on its own now that it's got 3 less marbles in it, right? The only movement that's going to happen is when you apply an external force to it, right? And that's like the gravity thing. When you throw a ball up in the air, say you throw it at a 60-degree angle and you spin it, and you throw it out the window. You throw it and it accelerates from when you throw it, and it decelerates through time to a stop in a horizontal, you know, the direction you throw it, it immediately starts slowing down as soon as you let go of it, and it slows down, it slows down to a stop. All right, so that's caused by the density of the air and the pressure and resistance of the object trying to travel through it. But that doesn't explain the propensity of the object to always find down. And the reason why down is down, and it isn't like 5 degrees to down or 10 degrees sideways to down or any other direction. And the reason that is because the thing that we call gravity, or the thing that gravity is trying to describe, has always happened. And that is an actual force. So it's not like a property of an object. It isn't the object's full of marbles and you can take 3 away. It's literally a thing that just happens, and there's nothing any of us can do about it. So we know we're walking in a straight line, we're effectively falling with style like Buzz Lightyear, right? When we're walking along, you lift up one leg and you fall onto it. And you know that falling, even using the word falling and down and up, it all has to have a reference point. Do you know what I mean? If you're in the middle of, say you're in the middle of vacuum space, right? A simulated vacuum space with no matter, and you're in the middle, you could be a million miles an hour, but you wouldn't know you were moving. You could be spinning around at a million miles an hour, but you wouldn't even feel like you were moving because there's no reference point. Now, that's the thing about gravity, is the only reason we know it exists, because like you say, it's a theory, we can't prove it, we can't see it. The only reason we know it's there is because that force that it generates and the result of the things that the force acts on is measurable. So although we can't trap a piece of gravity in a glass and look at it and measure it and weigh it and say what it's made of, we can chuck anything up in the air, or we can do it in water, or we can do all kinds of different things to test what the effect is on the object without actually seeing the gravity. Do you know what I mean? So it's like if you're in a dark room.
I understand what you're saying, mate. Right, but the thing that this is what I'm getting at, yeah, right. The reason, like you're saying, falling and things go down because of gravity, yeah, right. If it is that, yeah, if that is the reason, then gravity should have been proven. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing that. The reason why we don't float up and fall into space is because space isn't how we've been conditioned to believe it to be. Yeah, space is not this vast expanse in an ever expanding universe. It's not that at all. We cannot observe it to be that. So I
think it is that. I don't think it is that. I just use a simulated space of emptiness to show you the reference point. Up in space,
you know, the definition of vacuum. The definition of vacuum is void of matter. Yeah. So, like, we cannot possibly live in a vacuum at all. It's by definition, it's impossible. So to use like a vacuum to prove the force gravity is nonsensical. It's actually it's going off on a joyride again, an imagination joyride, because that's not where we live. So we can't apply that test to this reality when we don't live in that reality. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, mate. I'm just making some pasta while I do this. So apologies if you can hear me cooking. You didn't see my face. But the thing is, right, that we can't go past the density thing yet, right? Because you mentioned density, I mentioned density, and you say density is the thing causing objects to separate into their, you know, find their balance level or whatever the phrase that you use is.
That's buoyancy, isn't it? The buoyancy determines. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the buoyancy requires gravity. How do you calculate what buoyancy is? You still need gravity to calculate it. So what I'm saying is,
right, check this out, mate. Yeah, I jump in a pool now. Yeah, right. I take a deep breath, jump in a pool, right, and I'll float. Yeah, but as soon as I let that air out my lungs, I'll start sinking. That's that. There's no gravity at play there. It's literally the air in my lungs. That's it. Yeah.
No, there is gravity at play. There is gravity at play there. Because if you fill your lungs with air, why is it that you then float? In one sentence, why is it you float when you do that?
Because the air makes me less denser than the mass of the water. Yeah, the air in my lungs makes me less denser. See what I mean? I'm using density and buoyancy. There's no gravity at play there. It's literally just that.
What I'm trying to make you aware of is to generate these things called density, mass, and weight in the way that we're using them, scientific mass, true, accurate mass and density, not bulk density or not figurative mass or not any of these other theoretical things, real, accurate, true mass, density, weight, and energy. Yeah. All those require this downward force. that we're going to call gravity, or we might call it something else. But
that's what I mean. That's what you just said there. We might call it gravity. That's my problem. Yeah, right.
No, I don't care what we call it.
My problem is people are calling it gravity when it's not gravity. It's density, buoyancy, and electromagnetism. Yeah, that's to me.
It's absolutely not right. I guarantee you, and I put my entire fortune on this, density is not the same as mass or weight. They're all completely different things. Weight is a measure of the downward force an object puts in relation to gravity. So if you've got gravity of 1, the weight is going to be 1. So say you weigh 10 stone and the gravity is 1. Because the gravity is 1, the force that your weight is exerting on that gravitational, the opposite and equal reaction of that 1g of gravity gives you the number of your weight. That's how we generate weight. And that's why, presumably, if we didn't have gravity, you'd be weightless because there wouldn't be nothing to push against it, right? So that's weight. Mass is the mass is like the count of the molecules, right? The atomic count of the molecules. Density is the structuring of those molecules, right? So say you got a dried up sponge. When you squeeze it into a ball tightly in your hand, you've compacted it so it becomes more dense, but the weight is still the same. So what you've done there by squeezing it into a ball, this soft bit of sponge, is you've really condensed it, right? And think about that word, condensed. Yeah. Right? What you've controlled its density into a tighter ball. You've increased its density by lowering its volume. That's just maths. You take away 2 on one side, you've got to add 2 on the other, right? Because you can't just make things heavier and lighter just willy-nilly, or, you just create everything with your mind, wouldn't you? So you can't do that. So that's what this density thing, I understand where it's coming from, and I'm not arguing that density cause or seemingly can cause an observable effect, which you might say, oh, it's not gravity, it's density. But the thing is, density is a resultant property given by the force of gravity to an object. So without...
So, go on, can I just jump in there 1 second, yeah? Right,
no, so... It's important, though. It's important to get to the end of this, right? The words weight, mass, density, scale, entropy, all this stuff, right? All these words are what science uses to describe the effects that we see. So, like you say, okay, fine, you don't like Newton, you don't like gravity, you don't like Tesla's gravitation.
No, I didn't say that. I don't like the word the gravity is being used. It's being used in such a way, it is literally brainwashing every man, woman and child in the world to believe in this vast expansive universe that came from a random Big Bang. And none of that would be possible without the word gravity. So that's what annoys me about gravity. Right? No, but gravity, I'm just going to carry on right there, mate, because the apple, when it fell off the tree, right? If it had landed in a puddle, right, Newton's theory would have been completely different because it would have floated, It would have been like, oh, hang on a minute. So that's my problem with gravity. It's an assumption based on an observation. But do you know what I mean? Like, it didn't even think about what if the apple landed in the puddle and things like that.
Sorry, can I just mediate here for a second? Just to be factual. Gravity is most accurately described by general theory, right, of relativity, which was...
Well, it depends, doesn't it?
I'm just being factual. I'm just being factual.
No. Yeah, but if you're being factual, which gravitational theory are you using? Because there's a word gravity.
JCB, let me just finish, darling. I'm reading this factually. This isn't from my head, okay?
What are you reading it from, then?
The gravity is most accurately described as the general theory of relativity, which was proposed by Albert Einstein in 1915. I digress. Carry on.
Yeah, so that's not the first ever gravity. That's just the most popular.
I just said it's most accurately described. That was my words.
But that's what I'm saying. Accurately to Einstein's theory.
But it's still, let me just clarify. It's a theory. And if we
but it's scientific theory. It's not like in English, right?
I'm just saying,
sorry, go on,
as a mediator's point of view, what we need to do is we need to keep the conversation in context. We're talking about a theory. We are talking about a theory.
That's what I
think. You guys have made a false, not a false. You've made an error with. When you say theory, are we talking about a scientific theory or are we talking about an English theory?
Let me just get a 15-year-old in because she's doing her GCSEs just now. Darling, if you'd just like to come here and explain. She's doing triple science for GCSEs, okay?
I've already passed that, by the way.
She's in school, so I've got no reason to lie, but this is just for...
No, I don't think she's lying. I'm just saying, I got that already, and I scored an A.
That's fine. I'm doing this for the audience watching as well, JCB, because we've got a lot of people from both sides that are going to watch this live, and from. She's just getting her physics book just now, but my daughter's being taught this live in education right now. A theory. Yeah. A theory. Yeah, somebody's idea brought out of their visual representation, their interpretation of things. So I'm just, but carry on. And when I've got more information, I'll chime in, but carry on.
Yeah, that's an English theory, right? So in English, a theory, I can have a theory of anything.
International theory.
Yeah, but that's not what the gravitational theory is. The gravitational theory.
You're saying English. Why would you say English? That's a very, very strange word to use when we're talking about an international term of theory.
Because you said your daughter was at school, right? I'm taking it she has an English lesson and she has a science lesson. So English theory and science theory is two different types of the word.
I've got a niece in Hawaii as well. That's learning.
I'm going to ask you something here. Can I interject for 1 second? Can I interject for 1 second?
Victoria, wait a second. Let me finish my sentence. Okay. Right. I've got a niece in Hawaii right now who is the same age as my daughter, who's doing the same thing. Okay. So we're not talking about an English proposition here. This is international. Okay.
No, it's the meaning of a word, right? It's literacy.
My niece is giving me the same meanings, my darling, and she lives in Hawaii. Okay.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is the word "theya," right? Theya. There's 4 meanings of the word "theya." There's loads of meanings of the word theory. So you can't just say theory.
We're talking about the word gravity internationally and theories, yeah? So
yes, exactly. Right. So
gravity internationally is a theory and it's taught to children in schools.
Yeah, but what you aren't realizing here is the theory of gravity isn't just a made-up theory that hasn't been tested. The only reason it's still a theory and not a law is because there's absolutely no way a human being will ever live long enough to test it. We know.
Can everyone just give my 15-year-old daughter?
Yeah.
30 seconds to just read herself off of her own textbooks that are given to her by school. You read loud so they can hear you.
Theories never become totally
indisputable fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. If new evidence comes along that can't be explained using the existing theory, then hypothesizing and testing is likely to start all over again, thus insinuating that science becomes outdated. This is what they're teaching. So understand that when you talk about gravity, it's not really washing with people anymore, okay? Because it's not something.
That was my point.
Can I just interject one thing here, and then I'm buggering off again, right? Sorry, I swore.
You can bugger off in a different room, so you can't interject again.
Sure. Right, and I know what you're saying. You were saying scientific theory is different than theory in general, but I've looked into this because when you look into what a scientific theory means, it is all backed on other theories, which are scientific theories, but they've never been proven. So they've been backed on other theories. So like the theory of relativity and all sorts of other things. They are, you can go and look at the definitions yourself, because I've had to do that myself because I've had this.
I love science, right? I love science. I've been doing this for years and I absolutely love it, right? And I'd love to be wrong and I'd love for you guys to prove me right.
Yeah, it's just that the thing with theory is they think scientific theory means that that's fact, but it's not. It means that it's backed on what they call facts, and then when you look into them facts, they're actual scientific theories again that have never been proven. So it's backed on theories again, what isn't proven. So that's my point.
You just said yourself it's impossible to ever prove it conclusively, right? Because no one's ever going to live long enough. So what we do with a scientific theory is we accept that we can make observations, and that gives us.
We have to accept. That's it, bro. Like, so once we've accepted something, when you accept something, it's finalized. When you accept something, it's finalized. Yeah, this is what I mean. You just said then that nobody in our lifetime will be able to prove it. Yeah. So by accepting something that will never be proven, that's finalizing something that's never going to be proven. That's never going to stop learning about. Do you know what I mean? So the belief in gravity itself is accepting, do you know what I mean, it as a whole thing.
I disagree. I don't have a belief system, right, in gravity. The reason I use the word gravity is because everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say gravity. I'm not saying that Newton sorry. Apologies. Anyway, I'm not saying that Newton invented gravity. What Newton did was threw an apple, I don't know, whatever he did, an apple dropped on his head or whatever garbage story we're given, right?
Garbage. Exactly that.
Of course, that's marketing. I don't believe for 1 second he went, Eureka, just offered an apple. And apparently it was a Brian Cox apple. I love that. A Brian Cox apple was responsible, apparently, allegedly. No, we don't buy that. But anyway, back on track, right? Ooh, I've just realised how bad I look on the...
You're fine.
Anyway, right, what I'm going to do now is this. So, yeah, with the gravity thing, I know exactly where you guys are coming from, right? With the gravity theory, and it's a magical belief system. But that might apply to a lot of people. I don't know. It probably does. But with me, I never trusted any of my school teachers, any of my schools, any of the stuff I got taught. I went out and I made sure I learned it myself, right? Because I knew I wasn't going to get grades as good as I deserved because I was always in trouble, right? So I had to prove physically. I had to demonstrate. This is the thing, right? No, I couldn't give a theory of Brooke being a clever guy to get a job. I had to prove and demonstrate in real life that Brooke's a good guy that's worth getting a job, right? And it's the same with gravity. Nobody put the idea of gravity in my head and I just accepted it. I've just started using the word gravity because everyone knows what I mean to describe the downwards propensity of objects and the fact that down is consistently always the same direction, right? Yeah. And what that direction is, it's going towards something, right? It's going down towards something. So that's really what I'm describing. I'm not saying that Newton created gravity because he didn't. It was already there, or whatever the thing is we're calling gravity. This downwards propensity for objects to fall towards was always there. And actually, I found this out last week, right? The first line of Genesis. Actually, I've got my Bible here because I was doing this last week. Here it is, my Bible. There you go. You can see which one it is. Holy Bible, original, Revised Standard Version from 1860, right? So we'll go to page 1. The Old Testament, Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Right, just think about that. You've already got a polar up and down there straight away before he's done anything. So for his own need for creation, to make life easier for him to create stuff, you know, because he's got the whole universe, the first thing he did before he thought of anything else, before he made any creatures, before he did anything, is heaven up and earth where we are. Can
I just chime in here? What actual scriptures are you reading right there?
I showed you it. Hang on. This one, my Holy Bible.
Okay, so what for the purposes of the chat room? There's people in the chat room that read King James Version. I, for one, read the King James Version.
Yeah, that's what this one is. That's what this one is.
Okay, so all I'm going to say is if you're going to start reading scriptures, okay, I think we need to keep the conversation in context.
But what I'm saying, I'm not reading it as a scripture. I'm saying as a reference document for creationists who think that gravity is wrong and that everything else is wrong, and they use the Bible as their main source, effectively, which I disagree with. I don't think it's a good source. But anyway, that's what they do. And I just wanted to make the point that the people that do that and use the Bible as their source to refute gravity, well, they've only got to read one line into it to know, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And we know heavens is up and earth is down. So we've already got gravity there, or something which acts the same and does the same as what we today call gravity. So I'm just making the point that it's easy to say, oh, yeah, the sources are wrong, or you got lied to at school, or, you know, you make believe in magic and all the rest of it. But that doesn't give credence to the testing and the demonstration of that stuff. Like now, if I shoot a water pistol, I can explain the force of it going forwards. I know the displacement, the weight of the water, the volume it's coming out, the speed it's coming out, the drag of the air. I know all that stuff. But it doesn't matter what I do with that water. Eventually, its energy is spent. And guess what it does then? It falls down towards gravity, it picks up speed until it hits the surface. And that's the thing. Whether we call it gravity or anything else, we can always demonstrate that. So yes, it's a theory of gravity, but the actual thing that it's theorizing about, that downward propensity for objects to fall towards, is always there and it always will be there. So God did that as far as I'm concerned, which is what kind of why I think, they said that in line 1, God created heavens and then earth, and then everything inside it.
Yeah, right. And that's just up and down, yeah? That's not a magical force that spins things and sucks things and holds things. That's what I'm saying. This I've got no problem with the actual the description of why things fall down. I've got no problem with that. Yeah, I've got problem with the word gravity and the way it's being used to brainwash every man, woman, and child alive right now. All right, and I think we should go on to facts now, because we're being lost on tangents of theory and theory and theory. And the only thing you can do, with theory is make more theories. Do you know what I mean? So we're not going to get anywhere with that. Let's stick to the actual science now. We'll go back to the actual science of facts that have been proven, like mass bodies of water, not bending or conforming to the exterior of a spinning shape. Let's start with the unmeasurable curvature, the elusive curvature that nobody can find anywhere at any height on Earth. There's things like that.
Water seeks to maintain its level always, no matter where you are, no matter what water.
Okay, wait. If it always maintains its level, which we know that it does, how does it know which way is down? But specifically down. Why not this way a bit?
Because of the ground. Because of the Earth. The Earth is down. Yeah, the Earth is the floor, like you said in the Bible. There's up and there's down. There's up and there's down. There's nothing else. There's everything in between, but there's up and there's down. Yeah. Right, down is Earth, yeah, and up is the sky, yeah, right. So listen, things know where down is, because that is the only place it can go, is down, yeah. And the Earth is the floor, which stops the down, yeah. So the water knows down because that's the only way it can go, and it seeks its level and stops when it finds its level and stops. Do you know what I mean? So there's up and down, mate. There's no magical force. But anyway, we'll stick onto water, because obviously gravity is just a theory, so we can't prove that this theory holds water to the exterior of a spinning shape.
Okay, so you give me a different word to call it, and when I'm describing the downward force thing, right, I don't have to call it gravity. I don't care what we call it, right?
Falling. Call it falling. It's falling. That's what we know it's doing. We can observe it doing that. Let's call it falling.
This is the exact same position I got with all the other flat earthers. The only difference is you guys have been lovely to talk to and a great pleasure, right? You know, I don't want to swear. I mean.
This is the thing. This is the thing about the flat and spherical debate, because we haven't been given the full truth, We're all scratching around in the dirt, mate. We're all lost, right. But the main thing is that we have been lied to. We can prove that we've been lied to. So that's where we need to start working together. That's why these debates are very healthy, because look, we both think differently, but we're working together on the same thing. Do you know what I mean? I'd love for someone to prove that we're on this magical spinning ball, but that's what I mean. 3 years, I've been into this 3 years now, and still there's no solid evidence at all. It's all imaginary.
Okay, so going back to your original video, right, when you said I'm calling out scientists to prove that the world is not flat, right? The thing that I will just always go back to is the burden of proof there is on you, because you were the one that challenged it. You said
no. This is the problem. The burden of proof, because the ball's meant to have already been proven. The burden of proof is on the people that believe in the ball, mate. Right? Because I don't hold to any map or model, because it's just as silly as believing in a spinning ball. So the burden of proof is on the believer of the ball. Because apparently it's already been proven. So surely a scientific method, one experiment with the scientific method can surely prove that the Earth moves, spins, or curves.
Well, there's tons of things they've done that they say have proved it.
They say. That's the problem. They say a lot of things, mate.
Well, no, what I mean is I can't do any of that stuff here, right? So I discount it. The only thing that I know as fact as proven is stuff I can demonstrate here or outside the house and stuff like that, right? So the water pistol, the throwing the tennis ball, the electromagnets and the peas thing, all that is demonstratable here, like buoyancy and density and mass. You can demonstrate all that. But all this other stuff, and this is why the flat earth guys always end up falling out with me, because I'm really stubborn about, what we're actually discussing here is the proof about the flat earth. All this other stuff isn't proof. It's all conjecture and bits and everything else. So
can I ask a question, JCB? Why do you think you live on a globe? I
never said I did. I just don't think we live on a flat thing until I see some proof. I want to see this proof.
Right, can I say something? Because you believe in God, right? Which is an intelligent thing. Only intelligent people know that there's a creator, because they can't deny it, right? Yeah. So I'm going to go on the spiritual route. Yeah. Why would God, our creator, the creator of life, put us in a hostile universe with meteorites and things like that? It's nonsensical, right? Or would our creator put us on a nice stationary realm, a spiritual realm, a flat, motionless realm? Do you know what I mean? It makes more sense. We're not going to be hurtling through an endless vacuum full of asteroids and meteorites and black holes. Do you know what I mean? That's setting us up to fail, mate. Do you know what I mean? Our creator loves us enough to put us in this beautiful place where life can prosper.
I've got a different view on this, right? And I'm probably going to get slaughtered for saying this, right? But not only did I go from atheism to God, I did
the same, mate. And it was flat Earth that did it to me. Once I come across flat Earth, I had to admit, that life's a gift and this world was created for it. Do you know what I mean?
I always thought that, but I was always one of these hippie spiritualists, right? That don't know who he's talking to when he prays. Do you know what I mean?
I don't believe in any particular creator. I call it the creator of my soul, because there's so many ideologies out there and fake idols. I don't want to be caught up in fake false worship.
Yeah, that's true. That's the same as, mate. Same as. And this is the thing, right? This is why I couldn't understand all these flat earth guys abusing me like the way they were, because 99% of what we were saying was agreed.
Yeah.
That's what I understand. And the 1%, I said I could be wrong, but I want to see proof before I say definitely I'm wrong.
A lot of flat earthers subscribe to a certain model. So when you try and take that away from them, it's like when you try and take the ball away from a glober, everyone gets triggered, angry. Whereas like I've come to the conclusion that I can't prove the design. Yeah, so there's no point saying, oh well, I think it's this one and I think it's this one. All I do know is it measures flat. Yeah, and there's no measurable curvature. The water, natural physics of water, prove that we don't live on this spinning magical ball.
I'll do you a free gift, right? It's not that, but when people question the whole creator thing, right? Mathematically, the chance of a single coincidence happening to you in a day, right, that causes any sort of benefit is so limited. You got more chance of picking 6 correct football games in a week, all the correct scores and everything, right? It's like winning the lottery chance, right? To do 1 coincidence. To have 2 coincidences, it's exponentially that chance times itself, right? So it's the square root of that chance. So it's ridiculous. It's like billion gajillion times billion to 1 chance of 2. What they want us to believe, right, if there's no intelligent design, is that everything, look around where you are now, everything that humans made, technology, everything that we didn't make what we are, the air, the birds and everything, the sky, everything, right? We're supposed to believe all of this accidentally fell out of a can of worms or like blew out of someone's backside, right?
That's what they're teaching us at school.
Yeah. So this is it. That's the bit I do. I know school, right? Because I've been to a lot of them. I can tell you, they all teach you a different strand of bullcrap, right? Or can I say that? Yeah, that's okay. So I don't believe that. But the stretch of imagination that you have to take to believe that everything in the whole universe is not only just created by coincidence, but sustained by coincidence, and it hasn't decayed.
Exactly. Coincidence on top of coincidence, on top of coincidence, accident after accident after accident. And then here we are on a magical spinning ball, shooting through an endless vacuum, having a conversation about exactly that.
Yeah. So, but the thing is,
I mean, it's insane, and this is what I mean. Like, this is my problem. Like, I've got no problem with science. I love science. Do you know what I mean? Natural science. We wouldn't be able to have this conversation without actual science. Yeah, and theories are good. Like, fucking hell, we wouldn't be able. There wouldn't be Harry Potter novels or anything like that if there wasn't no theory. Imagination is amazing, mate. But like, to actually teach like children that these theories are fact, which is, it's stealing our spirituality, it's stealing our purpose, and it's taken us on this imagination joyride, like I keep saying. And we still out in our imagination now, tearing it up, mate. And the reality that they're creating with our imagination is absolutely shocking.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no argument there. I think that the society does need a bit of a kick up the backside, doesn't it, to say the least, right? But if we stick to the original thing, can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Sorry, I'll cut out for a bit there. Yeah, the original thing was the proving the flat Earth. So all this other stuff, we're at that same stage. We're 99% agreement. Everything else we agree with. All the stuff that other lady, was it Roxanne or Roxanne?
Yeah. And have you got a decent camera, decent zoom camera, like a P900?
No, man, I'm using my phone, and the reason I'm putting it down, I'm about to take a rolling. I need to have a rolling.
Honestly, mate, there's so many ways to confirm what the flat earthers are saying. Like, you can go out onto the beach now, mate. Yeah, right. We're taught that the ships are sailing over the curvature of the Earth when they disappear over the horizon. Yeah. So you take out a P900 and you can zoom them ships straight back into our view. You what?
It's all right. I won't let me pause. I wrote too much.
There's loads of ways, mate. Honestly, and like.
Yeah, but do you see my problem? All this stuff. If all that's like, let's just assume that every single thing of that cannot be refuted at all, right? Just for the sake of this little sentence, let's say every single word of that is 100% factual. All you've really done there is refute the sphere. You haven't built up the evidence for flat. So that's what I
mean, mate. Like, you know how water behaves, don't you?
Let's accept that the sphere thing is complete baloney, right? I'm saying baloney instead of BS because I like that word better, but let's say baloney. Yeah. Okay, let's accept that sphere's baloney and nobody believes sphere anymore. So we're back to square one. We don't know what shape.
Yeah.
So now,
that's a good place to be at.
But do you see where I'm going with this? It's going to end up being...
Yeah, I do, mate. I completely understand.
If it's infinite, if the plane that's flat is infinite, there's no way a single person will ever walk one end to the other to prove out. So it'll always be a theory, the same as gravity.
Yeah.
But it's a good theory, the same as gravity. It's one that you can use, right? So that's what I mean. And that's how science works for me. It always kills the last theory dead with the new one. Yeah. So gravity, when it finally gets overhauled, whatever replaces gravitational theory is going to stomp the hell out of gravity, right? It's going to smash gravity, but that's because it will be better.
Yeah.
And we haven't got anything better at the moment. So, like, yeah, I agree with you.
What I mean.
There's a lot of rubbish, but we haven't got anything better, and it works.
Yeah,
but it's
and
not
the thing about that, the thing that you just mentioned then about the infinite plane, I mentioned it last night on a hangout. Like when people ask me, like, "Oh, where's the edge to flat Earth?" Right? To me, consciousness makes this reality. Like, obviously, you wouldn't be able to experience this reality if you didn't have consciousness. Yeah. So consciousness creates this reality. Now, where is the edge to consciousness? There is no edge to consciousness. You can't even comprehend the edge to consciousness. Yeah, so that's my answer to the people, like, where's the edge? Well, if consciousness is creating this reality, where's the edge to your consciousness? Because there isn't. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you know, I'm going to throw in a red herring here, which doesn't deserve to be in this conversation because it's my personal view that I haven't proven or tested or anything, right? But it's from my, did I tell you about my near-death experience, right?
You mentioned it, you didn't.
Yeah. When I come back from the near-death experience of someone trying to kill me and I thought I was dead, right? And then I just woke up and I was outside my house and I was unharmed. I didn't have no blood on me or anything. And I just couldn't explain it. And I nearly went mad with it. I couldn't explain it. I locked myself away for months, right? Trying to figure out what was going on. And honestly, I'm such a sane guy. I couldn't even speak to people about it because it freaked me out. And the way that I logicked it in my head is actually everything here is non-physical.
Yeah.
Right. Everything here looks like it's got a physical shape and proportions, and you know, like a, you know, it could be a sphere of a certain size or a flat thing of a certain size, right? But like you said, it's actually based on our perception, which is consciousness, which doesn't have a boundary, right? Because it's the God part of us. It don't have that boundary. So even though to understand what we're in, to understand this world, we need boundaries, right? Otherwise, we're too dumb to understand what's going on. But inside of our head is where the boundaries are.
Right.
So we're in.
Can I just say, you know, our mind has been manipulated by the education system. There's been barriers set in our brain, by their education system. So they're setting our limits. They're putting limits to our consciousness. Yeah, they're saying, "Oh, we live here. This is how things happen. This is this. You must believe this way," and that automatically sets you in a mental cage. Do you know what I mean? It cages your mind. Yeah. So like, obviously, I'm not disagreeing with what you said there. You bang on the mark, mate. Absolutely. And this is, as we might be able to experience this as a physical reality, but it's not at all. It's all consciousness. It's all projected by this.
So that being said, right, that's what I think, and I'll probably get slaughtered for saying that the world it hasn't got a drop of real water in it. It's completely devoid of water, right? This entire universe that we think we're living in has no water in it and no physical proportions. But the caveat is, for us to understand our perception, which is physical, we can physically touch and feel and move things around, right? So even though everything underneath is this internetworked curtain of psychology and consciousness, right? It's basically a massive, endless wave of consciousness overlapping itself in a fractal dimension, right? But inside of that, we live, and we're not clever enough to see and understand all of that at the moment in this stage.
At the moment, because we've got these barriers set by education.
No, it's not. This is me going into my kind of cabin. I'm trying to stay away from.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm supporting you, mate. The reason why we can't comprehend things right now is because of these barriers the education system put there. If we was left free to grow up and being life itself as our teacher, we don't need anything else to teach us than life. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm kind of trying to make the point, that even though I was really well educated, for a lot of that time I wasn't at school. So I did what you said. I went out into the world and I just learned about stuff. Like, for instance, right, year 5, right, people are doing key stage 5 and they're learning simple science and stuff like that, right? I'd already started bunking with my 2 older mates who were 15 at this point, right? So I'd buggered off. I'd run away. Sorry, keep swearing. I run away to the bypass where I used to live, right? Dual carriageway. And we're picking up these big lumps of concrete and we're throwing them into the road to try and get it to land in a certain lane or between cars. It's just a totally idiotic thing to do for a child. I'll never ever do that again. Right? I was stupid to do it. But the thing that I learned from that is how to accurately throw, right? And if you think about it, you don't have to understand the force that makes everything go down. But if you practice throwing rocks, you understand how the rock's going to behave. Do you know what I mean? So whether you call it gravity or whether God did it or whether it's density or whatever it is, the effect is the same. And I learned not from school, but through stuff like that and invading building sites with my mates and climbing up stuff and swinging off stuff and falling down and realizing that the further you fall, the more speed you pick up and stuff like that. Or you know, the falling into water, falling into a centimeter of water really breaks the fall, because when you hit the water, it pushes the water out of the way and then it gives you a little bit of a barrier before you hit the ground, kind of thing. So that's where my education comes from. It was backed up a lot by what I was taught with books, but it all came from real life, or most of it came from real life. So that's why I wanted to avoid my belief, mate, because belief makes me sound like I'm going to start creationists going, and that's not me. That's not me at all.
Right, we're going to go back to how we can prove that the Earth is flat, yeah? Right, we're given these measurements, yeah? We're given a curvature chart by the people that have supposedly been to space and measured the Earth, yeah? And they're telling us that the Earth curves 8 inches per mile squared, yeah? Right?
I didn't know that.
You what, mate?
I didn't know that. 8 inches a square?
8 inches per mile squared, yeah? So it snowballs effects, do you know what I mean? Right? That's what they're teaching people. Now you can go anywhere on Earth, mate. You can go anywhere on Earth and debunk that yourself.
CB, do you want me to text you it? I've got a picture, a screenshot of it that I can text you. The same one that my daughter got to use in school. It's the same mathematical thing.
I need a piss anyway. Right? I need a piss. 1 second. And Vic's gonna jump in and fucking burn your head out, mate. Just
right, okay. This is my thing, this bit as well, what you've just come on to as well.
Show it. Can you show it to JCB so he can
actually... I can really explain it. Basically, it's Pythagorean theory going off the 25,000 mile circumference of the ball Earth, right? So it's 8 inches per square mile times the distance. And it works out, we've actually got a curvature chart now. This curvature chart is... it's from the globe model, and it's basically by working out using Pythagorean theorem what it would be per inches per mile, blah 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 blah. So, for instance, you've got like 30 miles out.
It seems an awful lot in inches, doesn't it?
Well, it's working out 25,000. Well, okay. Don't take anything what anyone says. This is what I keep saying to everybody. Don't just take my word. Go out and do your research and work out if I'm saying is true, but also do your research on these people who have taught you the stuff in schools and universities.
I never knew that. That's new. That
right. So let me get back to the points. Let me bring it back to the point, right? So 30 miles out. So on a clear day, you can usually see 30 miles out, can't you? So if you go to a beach, there's sometimes a bit of land in the distance and whatnot. 30 miles out should be, going off the curvature chart for a ball Earth, should be beyond 600 foot of curvature. Let me just double check. I've got that right. 30 miles is 600 foot of curvature now. Get this. Right, 100 miles out, so you might need some binoculars or a zoom lens or whatever. And as long as you've got a clear day, atmospheric conditions, and no terrain interjecting to stop your view, 100 miles out should be beyond 6,660 odd foot of curvature, right? 6,660 odd foot of curvature. Now, that is not possible. We should not be seeing this. Now, the horizon always rises to eye level as well. Now, it doesn't matter how high you go, you can be stood on Mount Everest and the horizon in the distance will rise to eye level. You can go up into a high altitude weather balloon and you look at their footage, as long as they are not using a GoPro fisheye lens, it's always flat and it always rises to eye level. In an airplane, 45,000 feet, the horizon rises to eye level. This would not happen unless you was on a flat plane, because on a ball, no matter where you are on a ball, it curves away from you. These are facts.
No, we can actually test this. I just thought of a
way. I've done my own test, but you've got to do yours.
Well, the test I'm thinking is we need to find 2 identically tall buildings with nothing in between them that are more than a square mile apart and get a laser from one to the other.
We've done them, right? Okay, there's tests out there, because obviously we've listened. Yeah, let me tell you this, right? There's tests out there. There's scientists. There was these scientists. No, I do not agree with the design of what they come up with, some design of the Earth, and I don't agree with that. But the test, what they did it across water and different areas, and they was basically ball Earth believers, and they wanted to prove the curvature, and they had to come back flat. They come back, said there's no curve. They come back saying that we can't, gravity doesn't exist apart from the components of gravity which are real, which is density, buoyancy, and electromagnetism. The rest of it is basically theory based. I'm not going to go back to gravity because we've just had a massive discussion about gravity.
We've done that. We've done that.
Basically, they've had to come back and say it's flat. Now, there's another thing that I want to point out before I give Tom the camera, the floor again, is basically there's so many places on Earth, right, that measure flat for hundreds of miles. So Kansas alone, right, there's 2 independent universities, nothing to do with flat Earth, went out and measured Kansas just for projects, and the studies got published, and the local newspaper actually did an article about it. And now Kansas was measured for 400 miles across, and they measured it flat, and the article in the paper said Kansas is flatter than a pancake. It was 400 miles across. Well, and then you've got let me just finish, and then then answer me, and then I'll bugger off. Then you've got like the Bolivian salt flats, the 100 miles, Lake, is it Balaclava? I can't even say it. You've got so many other places that are hundreds of miles flat, right? Now, this is my point. If the Earth is flat in places, which someone said to me on one of the activism things, oh, well, it must be flat in places. Why are NASA showing us images of a perfectly spherical ball? They shouldn't be. And the other thing is, it just doesn't fit to what they're telling us. The maths don't work out in reality, and these places are measuring flat. So where's this elusive curve?
Yeah, do you know what? I wouldn't, not the curvy bit, but the bit about NASA releasing a load of fake stuff, right? I love that, because I actually went to Florida in 1990, right? When I was like 10 years old, 11 or something like that. I was quite young. And I went to Cape Canaveral to watch the actual launch of this shuttle, right? And I remember saying to my dad in the car, I don't think they're going to do it. It don't look like a real thing. And we waited for hours and hours and hours. And then there was a big tannoy call out, and he said, oh, we cancelled the launch because of bad weather.
Wow.
Right? I waited for hours to see that bloody thing, and they stitched me up. Yeah. So I think NASA, from that day forward, I was really suspicious of everything that NASA did. Oh, yeah, and the Cassini rocket, right? I did an applied design. I redesigned that for purpose. And what I found is the design that they give us, you know, the publicly available design of Cassini that NASA give us, that wouldn't work. It wouldn't work at all. It doesn't.
Once you break NASA down, you break NASA down and you look at their images, you know, they give us this blue marble shot where you Robert Simmons online anyway tells us that it's composite images. He gets given pieces of the Earth in little pieces, and then he says I have to paste them around a ball. They look flat, and then he says it is photoshopped. but it has to be. And that's because that's all he gets given. He says, I have to make it into a ball shape because that's what I think it is. And he's not in them exact words, but listen to the online thing. And then you're looking at this blue marble shot, what we get every year, and they give us the same diameter of circle every year. And then sometimes Africa's ginormous, and then other times it's shrunk. I'm like, bloody hell, it fucking had a bit, it must have put a bit of weight on one year. Do you know what I mean?
My favourite one, right, is they got a photo of the whole planet from when they went up in the 1960s or whenever the hell it was, 1957.
Apparently.
And in that picture, right, if you can use Photoshop to take off the cloud layer and map it onto a square, then you take one from like last week and you take the cloud layer and you map it onto a square, and lo and behold, over like decades and decades and decades of changing weather conditions, lo and behold, we got exactly the same cloud formation. So it looks like either they've added a composite layer with clouds or they've added a composite layer with the planet. And the clouds
they've admitted that they use a cloning tool to paste on the different, you know, the colours, the clouds.
It's the one thing I am qualified in, right? I'm expert with detecting fakes in Photoshop. That's what I studied, and I did a job at that, and I was really good, right? So that's why, even though I don't think it proves what shape the Earth is, it does prove that the guys who support it are lying about a lot of different things, right? So we agree on that.
Well, what about this then? And I've had a few people in the chat room saying this then. What about the moon landings then? Because they are very clearly, to me, after everything that you look into, the fake.
Well, the way I thought that was fake, right, is I looked at a bunch of pictures and I thought straight away, look at the surface of the moon. It doesn't look like it should, how we described it.
You can see the backdrop where they put the backdrop.
Exactly. And then I was like, look at the outline of the astronauts, right? And actually looks like one of them is in a slightly different outfit to the other ones, and the reason that is because 3 of them have got the issued outfits that are, you know, the props that they were given, and one of them obviously couldn't find his, so he's gone back to a previous version, and the flag on it's wrong, right? The American flag on it's wrong. So and then you got the big flag on the pole they put in, and it's somehow got like wavy. It's not the wavy.
Did you notice, right? There's so many, it's just unbelievable. But I like the camera pans out and pans up at the end when they shoot back up to realign by something traveling over 4,000 miles per hour as well, and they did it in one go. Now the person, or you know, whether it was remote controlled or they left a cameraman on the moon, whichever, is a bit dodgy, because they was managing to send a remote control signal from Earth to the moon to pan the camera up and pan out. That was amazing. Or they left someone on the moon, whichever way. Poor cameraman. Do you know what I mean?
They just left him behind.
And there's no thrust. When you look at this thrust, it's like something. Did you ever watch Button Moon when you was younger, or was that beyond? It's like a fucking Button Moon, honest to God. There was no thrust. There was no bloody craters. All the lighting, you know, you can see it's like a stage camera lighting. The shadows are all telling you. Then there was the buggy tracks on the lunar buggy, whatever it's called. That was all over, and they'd only just unloaded it. So somehow someone had been there before them and had a little roam around, and there was all tracks on the moon. And how the hell did they all
easily done
how the hell did they all fit into that bloody lunar module? And it looks like it's been made by Blue Peter with sticky back plastic and tin foil.
Someone said to me, I don't know this for sure because I never worked for Nissan and I don't even own a car. I don't want a car. I've always been off petrol, right? So I've never had a car. But my mate used to work for Nissan, and he said the alloy wheels they used on the moon buggy thing were Nissan wheels. So you just got to ask yourself, why the hell would they use old crappy 80s, you know, 1980s or 1950s?
Well, I've just come across something about the wheels, right? Now, you know the vacuum of space, right? This is another thing why I don't think we've ever been to space. The vacuum of space makes air expand.
So
whatever.
You'd bounce up and down, wouldn't you, on the thing?
And how would the wheels not like burst? And so how would the people in the suits not, you know, explode and things crush as well in a vacuum? How does that work? Then you've got the Van Allen radiation belts. Apparently they zipped past them somehow, and then they waited for some solar flares or something to go a bit less, and then they zipped in a little magical way. And they never tested this lunar module anywhere before they did it. So amazing. It happened first time. But these guys are telling us that they've still gone to the moon. They're still saying this. They're still showing us all these images, saying that they're taking photographs. They're still telling us this, and this is our proof that we've now seen that they've been to space, and that we've seen that our Earth is a globe. Now, I'm sorry, but everything to me, our senses tell us that we're flat and motionless. Forget about theories and stuff like that. We've all got theories for everything, but our senses tell us we're flat and motionless. We can measure with distances and our eyes and zoom lenses as far as we can see with our perspective and our visual, where you lose your line of sight with your vision, where I forgot what the word is, but anyway, we can see that these things are measuring flat. Water always finds its level. The sea, the oceans are vast. It's supposed to be 70% ocean, and then it all finds its level. I'm sorry, it's a fucking funny flake-shaped ball there with 70% oceans flat. Now,
let's summarize what we just went through, because we just literally did about 10 years of discussion in about 5 minutes. We did pretty well there. I'm quite impressed.
I'm good at that, by the way.
No, I'm really impressed by all of you guys as well. I hope I've done all right.
Thank you for being patient and coming on as well, because that takes balls. That.
Yeah, well, I got those.
Literally balls, not space balls.
Yeah. I'm reading some of your chat now. I got distracted because I got my screen on over there. Right, I'm reading some of the chat, and someone has put, "Oh, this bloke's a worm. A Photoshop expert didn't know the moon was added." What we were talking about the photo on the moon. So how is the moon added when we're talking about a fake photo of the moon? I think that guy's misunderstood.
You get trolls, you get people. I'm not saying whoever said that was a troll. I'm just saying you get trolls in the conversation and stuff.
I'm not having a go at him. I think he's misunderstood something, because I didn't realize that a fake photo of the moon, which was taken on Earth in a studio, had to have a fake moon put in it, because that would mean that the moon has a moon. Do you know?
I think he meant, and I don't think he was a troll. Sorry, I'm meaning I've seen a few trolls in the group, in the chat. But I think he meant, they basically took a photograph from the moon and showed there was like Earth from the moon, like Earthrise, I think it was, something like that they called it. And you can clearly, once you use your filters and stuff like that, you can clearly see the square behind it, and you can clearly see it's been photoshopped into it.
Oh yeah, tell you what. One amazing thing that I spotted, right, is if have you seen the famous photo of the Ocean of Peace, or the Sea of Peace, or whatever it's called, on the moon, right?
Oh yeah,
Go onto Google Maps, right? And go to, I can't remember which desert it is. You'll be able to Google which desert it is, right? There's a desert that's on Google Map, and if you take that picture of the desert, it's identical to where the moon is. It's got all the same mountains and stuff. So even though I'm not convinced that the Earth is flat until I've seen some definite proof, I would definitely agree that NASA and a lot of the spherical lot are not trustworthy in general, because they, for some reason, they want to just lie about everything and make us.
If your sources of information are dubious, you've got to look where your information's coming from, and these are the people who are telling us what it is. Now they've got NASA alone takes in 53 million a day. Our $53 million per day. Our space agency, God knows what the hell they do, taking 1.6. Is it rocks? 1.6 million per day. Well,
I think this is just me speculating. I've got no proof of this, right? So I'm pointless saying it really. But as far as I'm concerned, NASA is not actually a science firm. It's not a space firm. It's not even an aeronautics firm. What NASA is a marketing department for someone else, right? So all NASA is like 20 Photoshop guys, 3 camera guys, and a couple of artists. And what they do is they spend all their time and computer resources trying to generate stuff that is plausible, right, and looks real. So even though that doesn't prove or disprove flat Earth or sphere Earth, it's just another thing. It proves
that they're lying with what they're showing us, though.
But I want to make.
And they're trying to tell us that it's true. And these people, these scientists, who totally believe in the ball Earth theory, are using that as evidence to prove that it's true. Now, can I just say one last thing, which I've said too much really, because it's not my debate, this, but when you go back to when they brought the ball Earth in, right, that was Copernicus 500 years ago, right? He was one of the Masonic elites. Now, I don't know if you looked into your Masonic elites and the ones who were behind the scenes and stuff like that. No, to me, and then you look at all the mainstream scientists since that actually made it big and made the name, including the modern day astronauts, they are all in the club. They're all in this secret society club where it's hush, hush, wink, wink. And they're all high up and they've got either fame, fortune, or so-called knowledge to share with us and to impart on us. Now, I'm sorry, but that's dubious to me because they're all in a club. Do you know what I mean? And the ones that are living off the backs of us. So to me, it's not just about the lie; it's about the liars. And that's a massive thing for me.
And I'm
sorry, I'm going to have to give Tom back his thingy, but go on, you carry on speaking because he's still here. So thank you.
Anyway, cheers for that. See you later.
She hijacked me, man. She hijacked the live feed. I only went for a toilet.
You should have took the camera with you. I wouldn't have minded. So yeah, summary of what you missed, mate, while you were sitting on the doodler.
Oh, no, I was here. I was present.
Oh yeah, cool. Okay,
yeah, I was trying to get back in. I was trying to get the camera back off her. But no
what I'm thinking, mate, is you should take the floor for a bit now because I don't suppose you've read all the chat that's there. All these people are going to want all those questions looked at.
Yeah, I've been looking through the chat. To be fair, mate.
Yeah, so basically, I've said a bit of my bit in relation to what's been said. So I think it's time that you say your bit, mate. Give me some of this flat Earth proof, and I'll just listen to it all. And I won't disagree or agree today. What I'm going to do, I've got a notepad here. I'll prove this, right? This is how much of a dedicated guy I am, right? See that? That's all my. Hang on, let's show you it. I can't fucking see what I'm. There it is. Sorry, I swore. There's all my notes, my pens, and my books, and everything. So what I'm going to do, as you talk, try to keep it so that there's gaps between it for me to write. I'm literally going to write down word for word everything you say, and then go away and look at it for a few days and really learn it from your perspective. This is something that nobody does this, right?
If you want to have my email and stuff or whatever, or I don't know if you're on Facebook or anything, welcome to speak to me anytime as well as Tom. There's the two of us.
This is probably suicide me saying this, but everyone in this chat has got access to my email address. It's the one that I'm on YouTube. Anyone can send me emails and stuff, and I'll look at it and I'll say, you know, I've received it and looked at it and stuff. And I think what might be a good idea, because wherever this heads, right, wherever it goes, whatever shape the Earth ends up being, whatever ends up being the truth, we should be the ones recording it because we're having this conversation. So all of us, what I think we should do, right? Yeah. Everyone needs to put in 20 quid each, right? And then when we've all put in 20 quid, we all buy a domain, put a website on it, right? And I'll make it so that we can all edit it equally and stuff. And we can just record every single thing that we look at with the actual documents and the links and stuff. Then in the future,
it's a great idea.
Yeah, that's what I think. If anyone wants to get trolly and argue, because we started off from, you know, we're still kind of in opposed camps almost. But it's just been such a great conversation. I think we need people to see that happens because I don't think people believe that opposed camps can have a good discussion like this.
That's because of like the way Facebook's designed. Like honestly, it's only designed to cause problems, mate. To be fair, like it's ruining relationships all over the world right now. Do you know what I mean? Facebook is a naughty app. That's why I'm trying to convince people to come over here and have debates on this because it's more real, it's more authentic as well.
Well, basically, right, I've got a new thing already. I'm coming off Facebook because I just constantly get banned for every 3 days, right? And I've not done any posts. No, it sounds bad. I've not done any posts for about 3 weeks, but I've been banned 3 times from doing no posts from posts I did months ago before they changed the rules.
Because we get banned all the time. What was you posting?
Yeah, but you know why they particularly ban me all the time, right? Because I criticize the guys who are running the show, right? And I don't mind criticizing them, and it's not always PC, right?
As soon as you call out that. Go on.
But what I'm saying is, when I'm criticizing these guys, I'm not criticizing them because they're Islamic or because they're gay. It just so happened they used that defense to shut me down, right? The PC, the SJW defense, right? But if we had this website with all the information on there, that kind of crap wouldn't last. Do you know what I mean? You're throwing mud at a website with black and white pages of text and data on there. It's not going to work. So I'm thinking whatever our position is to begin with, we need to record that. And where we're headed, we need to record the goal. And as we go, we need to put this conversation and all our data together, mate. And in a year's time, wherever it goes, we'll both know all about it. And not only that, we'll have all the data.
It's a great idea, collecting the data.
I've got an idea as well, right? I don't know if you'd be up for it because you seem like a really nice guy, but we do like camps and shit like that, and we go get around UK. If you want to come meet up with us, you know what I mean, in person, there'll be no animosity or anything like that. Just be able to have a chat and meet up in person, because I don't know where you are in the UK, but we do travel all over doing our activism and stuff like that, so it'd be good to meet up.
I mean, it's a bit difficult at the moment. I'm actually on the run, right? I should be in jail because I didn't really, right? That's
got a fugitive.
Sorry, I just wanted to see how much you thought I was a lunatic for 2 seconds. yeah, I'm definitely up for meeting up and stuff like that. So money's not really an issue. I've got enough money to go around, but like I said, I'm totally against petrol-driven cars, right? So I don't mind carpooling. I don't mind filling up a seat.
Sweet.
But I'm never going to own a car until it literally runs on water.
Yeah, some guy invented the cars running on water, and he disappeared.
Yeah, Ford bought it, and they're not ever going to release it because why would they?
They bought it to shut it down.
People to, because it's funny.
It's funny you mentioned petrol cars, because all cars were meant to be run off electric, right? And it was the Rockefeller, because the Rockefellers owned the oil industries at the time. Yeah. And he's like, no, make everything run off oil. I want to profit off it. Do you know what I mean? So that goes with the Tesla thing as well. Tesla wanted to release free electricity. Do you know what I mean? And they wanted to charge us for it. So
I'll tell you what's scary about Tesla, right? And this is another thing: the gravitational theory. Tesla had his own theory of gravity, right? And he thought that gravity for Tesla was 2 bits that made one force. The first layer was the he couldn't explain what it was, the matter, the force that attracts matter towards it. And the second was the electromagnetic force that attracts water and like air between particles and stuff like that. But when it's really hard to understand, right? I read through it months and months and I still didn't really get it. Obviously, Tesla's a genius. I ain't ever going to get it. But that he designed this thing, right, which used his gravitational theory. And this machine could literally have the potential to blow up the entire world. And I'm not even kidding you, right? He theorized that there's 5 billion megavolts of free energy floating in the air at all times, and it's endless. It never runs out. It's got a really, really low ampage, right? A low current, but a high charge. So basically, you could hold a light bulb up in the air.
You get a call.
It would light up just from you
Message
holding
Leslie on there and tell him I'm using the phone. Hold on. Oh, no way. All right, I'm going to have to come out of it and come back in because the microphone's gone. Hold on.
I can still hear you.
Yeah, but you've gone really quiet, mate. Like you're whispering to me.
Oh, I might have covered the microphone. Any
no,
better
it's
now?
Because we just got a phone call on this phone and it's quieting it somehow.
No.
I'll come straight back in, mate. I'm just going to hang up now. Hold on.
Yeah, all right then, mate. Yeah, I'll wait for that invite then.
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, so yeah, they got a mic issue just now. They're back.
Yeah, it's on now. It's back on.
Right here. No worries, guys. Carry on.
Sweet.
Carry
on. We're back. Take you. Actually, yeah, this is a good point, right? How old do you guys think I am?
34.
Mate, and it just.
I'd say early 30s. Early 30s.
Yeah, 34.
Fucking hell. Oh. You're accurate. You're only 6 months out.
P Mars wants to come on as well.
P Mars, yeah.
P Mars, yeah.
Okay.
Right,
is that the guy who did the comment on your video?
I think so, mate. Yeah, there's a few people.
Even though he was like a bit kind of, it seemed like he was being a bit spiky. Actually, he had I liked the way that he thought.
I'll tell you what I'll do, guys. I've got P Mars on Google Hangouts, so I'll go back and forth with him on my Google Hangouts and send him the link. I'm not sure. I don't know how you guys want to do it. If you want to add him into what you're doing just now, or if you want to do one at a time, Tom, it's up to you.
Well, you could chuck him in. That's what I mean. We could chuck him in. We could even get a few. Like it could be an open discussion, can't it?
Jump in there, Rox. If other people are jumping in, I know I jumped in. Anyway.
As long as we're respectful for each other and let each other talk and things like that, there's not going to be a problem, is there?
Right, give me a second, guys.
I actually misread you when I saw your 20.
My mic out. Can you hear me?
Go on.
Good. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. Sorry about the headphones. It just comes through a bit echoey if I don't use it.
Right.
Really,
Much love. Hello.
Thank you, my darling. Nice to meet you, sweetheart.
Yeah, and likewise. So,
thank you, Karen, for allowing me to be here. I'm really, really pleased to be a part of this. So my ears are pinned back, and I'm willing to.
Yeah, we can hear us.
Rox, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just making Rolly, and I'm trying to stay on camera.
Yeah, man.
No, can you tell I'm such an amateur? I haven't got a clue about this video.
Sorry about that, guys. You're gonna have to bear with me because I'm trying to multitask here. I'm a guest on another show, and I'm holding this down. So where this is you, Tom, this is your baby tonight, even though it's my platform. I've just got
Guys wants to come in as well.
Yeah, no worries. I'm going to multitask. I just had to say hello because I'm on a panel with another show just now, right? So I'm in the background now. I'm going to be multitasking. They're talking on the panel just now, so I'm going to multitask in the background.
Rox, we can jump in as well, and Les wants to jump in, and there's a P Mars is jumping in, but everybody's got to take the turns because that's the only thing. Otherwise, we can't understand what people are saying. Yeah,
we've got to be respectful for each other. So when someone starts talking, let them finish, and then, do you know what I mean, vice versa.
Cool.
Brilliant.
Okay.
So yeah, if I can, if you guys can just bear with me in the background, you guys carry on talking, and people will just come in as they come. All right.
So this is the summary. This is a summary as I got it so far. Is we haven't seen any compelling new evidence to completely encapsulate and suggest that the Earth is flat, 100%. But on the other side of it, we got a lot more doubts with the guys saying about the spherical Earth. So we've eroded the spherical Earth position quite a lot.
Yeah.
we kind of kicked it in the nuts a few times and kicked some sand up in its eyes and that. So it's not very happy. But we still have to build up the flat Earth if that's the direction we're going in.
That's what I mean. There's plenty of information out there. Like obviously there's the world record photo, the longest distance photograph, and that's 273 miles, mate. 273 miles, yeah. So that's some funny shaped ball with 273 miles of flat fucking horizon. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to say that's a way to walk uphill and then downhill again, isn't it? You know what I mean? Up and down like the Grand Old Duke, isn't it? That would have taken ages. Anyway,
Grand Old Duke.
Oh, excuse me. Well, I'm not very good at this smoking.
Yeah, like I'm sure a lot of people will be getting your email address and messaging you links to proofs and that, because there's so much out there. Like in 2014, nobody had really heard of flat Earth, and then Eric Debay had released the Flat Earth Conspiracy, and that's it now. There's gone from having like 30 videos on YouTube to having 20 million. There's 20 million videos about this on YouTube right now. So like there's so much, there's endless amounts of data. Do you know what I mean? And there's things getting uploaded right now as we're speaking. There's probably videos being uploaded. Do you know what I mean? So there's like this is the biggest thing on the internet right now, and it's flat Earth. And the funny thing is, if you type in flat Earth on YouTube, all you'll get is flat Earth debunked videos. Yeah. The popular ones are the proofs, mate. And this is the thing, this is the most researched topic on the internet now, and all you can find is Flat Earth Society reference and silly videos. Do you know what I mean? They're making sure that it's not trending in our favor. Because if it was trending in our favor, there would not be any globe earthers.
But it's not just that. The reason when I said the debunking videos are the most popular, they're not popular with scientists and people like us, right? Who they're popular with is all these trolls, the guys who love a wind up, right? And they love reading swear, they love reading arguments. They in their millions, they couldn't care what shape anything is, right? They just want to get into an argument online.
Yeah.
They're the guys that are making it popular and ruining the trending, right? And Facebook and Twitter loves trending those guys because they're the clickbait ones. They click all the links.
Yeah.
So it's a bit misleading. I think there's much more support for the deception theory, which we have all sort of agreed on. And there's even a lot more support for actual flat Earth. In fact, I bet you didn't know this, right? Islamic culture is a flat Earth culture. All of Islam believes a flat Earth.
All religions are flat Earth cultures, mate. All of them are.
Sharia, if Sharia ever came over here, if you say the world is not flat, they can cut off one of your hands. That's how seriously they believe it, man. They're insulted if you disagree with it. So yeah, it's a new thing in Western culture, because obviously we thought we knew everything until recently when we realized we don't know diddly squat. These guys always knew they knew everything, because obviously Allah told them that everything was there, and they thought they knew it all. So yeah, I think the flat Earth thing is still developing. But what I'm really interested in, I think it was your lovely, beautiful lady friend said it earlier. Oh no, I said it, and it was her question. We need to get a laser between two tall buildings that are more than a mile square apart, right? And so it goes in a straight line from one building to the other.
That's a brilliant idea, mate. And there is a video on YouTube. But like she said, they was ball earthers. They went out and did these tests. They actually did that exact test that you're on about. Found two buildings like with a big distance apart, but they was the same size, and they fired a laser. And that's what I mean. We need to do it. Yeah, I completely agree with you. We need to do all of these tests ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Because it is just, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't say, oh, you're taking secondhand information when you're doing it yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, I'm going to disagree with a live stream when we're sat on top of a building with a laser, with an independent adjudicator. Exactly. You know, like a lottery man who we don't trust. We'll get one of those drones in and you can sit there and watch. So, yeah, but I think if we did that, it cuts a lot of the trolling away, because straight away you've got physical evidence, and it's like, well, it's physical evidence, you know.
The trouble is, mate, right? I get what you're saying, because at the end of the day, we're doing these type of things, and we're still getting trolled because you've still got people who haven't done it, and they're going, no, it's this, it's this. But I think this is why the more people do these things, the more it will get, like, you know, it won't just be someone on YouTube doing it or someone who they never heard of. It'll be like the neighbours done it, or the friends done it, or the family members done it.
There's an interesting comment here from Water Flat Earth.
Chime in before you say the comment, darling. Can I get Victoria or you? Could one of you two on Facebook Messenger, could you just ping me across all the email addresses for everyone you want me to add, including Leslie's? I need everyone's email address.
Because she knows who wants to come in.
Leslie, just ask Leslie to send it, you know.
She's busy. She needs asking you to do it. You to send it to her.
I don't know
if it just at your own point, if someone could message me on Facebook, even if Leslie, anyone who's on Facebook Messenger with me, if you could ping me across everyone's email address, including P Mars, if you could put your email address in the chat room, or fire it across to either you or Tom or Leslie, if you could fire it across to Leslie, anyone who's in contact. Sorry, I'm just going to click out on the mic again. Carry on. Sorry.
Right. There was a comment from Water Flat Earth, and he said lasers are not as accurate as water, which is correct. Yeah. He also mentions beam expander. Yeah. But like what he said there is water, like what the natural physics of water, like we keep saying, you cannot dispute it, mate. Like you cannot show water spinning, conforming to the exterior of a spinning shape. Yeah, so that smashes gravity out the window. For that matter, yeah, for for saying that the gravity is keeping water on, you can't prove that. You can't show a demonstrable model of that working. So what we're saying is the natural physics of water, the natural physics of water itself, is more than enough proof of a flat Earth.
Well, I can show you actually now on this video that water does naturally conform to a round surface, right? And I'm trying to find a good thing to do it on, because you won't be able to really see it that well. You can do it at home. All you need to do, right, get a dark coloured tile, which is non-water soluble, which is completely flat. Get a spirit level, stick the tile down so it's completely level on the spirit level. Get a pipette and do droplets of water. And from up high, do a big droplet first. It will hit the thing, split into like 8 little mini droplets. And then when you look at each droplet on the flat surface, it is a bubble shape, like a half circle bubble.
Yeah,
all the way around.
Try spinning the tile. Yeah, try spinning the tile and watch them fly off. Yeah, this is what we're saying, mate.
The thing is, what you're saying there is you were right in that a very minute droplet of water will have a curvature effect. But when you get a lot of droplets of water together and they have to be contained as well in a container, they will always find the level. They always will. You always get, once there's no motion in place, you will always find level water. Now, oceans, obviously we have tides, but when you look at a horizon, you can actually get a spirit level and put it across an horizon and it's flat. Do you know what I mean? It's always flat and straight across. Now, oceans are vast.
I've got to say, I still don't understand how we know what down is. You know, like when you're a baby, There's two things that a human baby is scared of when he's born, right? Or she's born without having any brain cells formed, right? Or any thoughts in there. And those two things are a fear of falling directly down because they know down equals pain. They're going to drop. It's a natural instinct. And the other one is loud noises. And oh no, there's three. There's drowning as well. They don't like to drown.
Okay, I've got an answer for you there.
Let me just recapitulate the point. So you've got those three instincts of a baby: doesn't like loud noise, doesn't like being dropped, doesn't like being drowned, right? And if you think about it, two of the three of those, being dropped down and drowning, require this direction of down to be consistent, right? So whether it's on a flat Earth or whether it's circulating a random circle of gravity thing, either way, this direction down means that something's pulling towards the down or pushing towards.
Not necessarily. This is going with, right, what you're going off is you're going off the scientific method that everything has a force, right? Now, this is just completely throwing everything out the window now and starting from scratch. Say we've never been taught nothing and we're just going off our own observations. So say this. I'm saying to you, knowing that we've been created as well and designed. So every single thing on Earth that is denser than air falls down, yeah? Everything that is lighter than air rises. Now, if you go up, you know, there's nothing of matter that was mass and matter that can live up there. It just can't live up there because we was created to live on Earth. So everything falls to the Earth. We're so special that everything's on Earth. Method that everything has a force, right? No, this is just completely. What's happening there? Oh, you need to turn your thing off, Les.
Sorry.
Nothing.
Hello, Les.
No, not your thingy. You've got it on TV in the background. Turn the TV off in the background because we're behind. What happens is it's a few seconds delay as well.
It's sorted. Don't worry, it's sorted. Hi, JCB. Nice to meet you, mate.
Hi, Les.
Hi, Leslie, darling. Just to let you know, obviously I sent Leslie's invitation, everybody, and I've just sent P. Mars's invitation. And all I can say is I hope, P. Mars, I hope you behave, darling, and I hope when you come on it's a civilized thing because I've not actually been able to speak to you at all, and I hope you're in conjunction with everyone else.
We're all good people, Rox. I'm sure it'll be kept very civil.
The thing is, if anyone does
do it, but if anyone needs me, can you wave at the camera because I might be paying attention to the other hangout just now. Okay?
Right. Okay. Right. All I want to say is anybody who does get disrespectful and nasty, because at the end of the day, we're all allowed our own opinions and we're allowed our own ideas. If anyone gets disrespectful, they're off. It's as simple as that. You know, if I got disrespectful, I don't you'd throw me off. Do you know what I mean? We should be able to be adults and have difference of opinions. And I think it's healthy because we're not taught this in school. We're taught so this is the way it is, and you can think inside this box, but as soon as we go outside the box, you're poo-pooed and you're called crazy.
That's cool.
We should be. We should be able to say, no, actually, that doesn't measure up, or no, actually, I think this, and that's healthy. I think
it is.
You know what? I think it's worth. Sorry, go on. I butted you in there, mate.
No problem, JCB. Firstly, I just wanted to say thanks to Roxanne for hosting this Google Hangout tonight. Cheers for that, hon. And also to Tom as well for arranging this with JCB. Now, just to touch briefly on where I'm at this with at the moment, guys. I looked at some of the comments on Tom's YouTube account this afternoon, and I was quite disheartened actually because obviously there was a bit of triggering that had gone on, etc. It's completely understandable, but I was really disheartened, and I was actually quite nervous about this hangout tonight. It's not the fact that Tom can't handle himself. I didn't personally know what we were going to be coming up against. Now, I did ask you before the start of the conversation as well, GCB, where your scientific stance was. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm a peasant, mate. I got a good education, but no certificates. Do you know what I mean? I'm a school of hard
the best
knocks.
way.
It is. It is the best way. So, you know, it's actually been very heartening. It's been refreshing. It's been heartening, you know. And do you know what, JCB? This one thing I'll say to you, we come across a lot of people within the truth movement, right, who find flat Earth hard to comprehend. Now, I was one of those people. I've been awakened since 2012 to the ills of this Earth and who's controlling it. However, I recently came to flat Earth about 24 months ago. And briefly, when I got told it, it was a case of the Earth is flat and there is no such thing as satellites. Now, that is how it was delivered to me. And what do you think my reaction would have been as a scientific-minded person, just like yourself? Right. So I said to the person that told me, that's ridiculous. Because of this, and this. This is because you're doing that now yourself as well. But then it took me 6 months to actually come across a video that was an 1.5 hours presentation that completely changed the way that I thought about everything. And that led on to the NASA lies. And then it led on to the history of flat Earth regarding how it came about, you know, where we were brought up to within the 60s of it, and everything happened so quickly. And there was a lot of other key events that happened around that time. And now I'm going to shut up.
So did you do the whole culture thing then? Because that's really impressive if you've done all that legwork. Because obviously I've done some of it, but I don't really know that many other people who have. And I find when I mention it, it triggers people. So I don't mention it. Like no. I said Islam, the bit I said about Islam having a flat earth 1,000 years ago, or 800 years ago when they started off, they never knew anything but that.
That's right. And a lot, as what Tom said before, a lot of the older civilizations like the Mayans and the Incas, the Egyptians, there's so many, they all did originally believe that they lived on a stationary Earth because they used their own observations. And you know what I mean? Like Tom's been speaking about tonight, and they knew themselves that they were motionless, right? Now, look, I'm not debating the shape of the Earth. I'm like Tom. I don't believe fully in any particular model, although I'm swayed more towards the firmament model like it's laid out in the King James's Bible. Do you get me? And through my own observations as well, like I was stood on the Nile last year, which is close to the equator, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and there was no atmospheric conditions that could sway my point of view. It was the most clearest, beautiful nights. And I looked all around me 360. And if you look towards the horizon on a nighttime, you can see a clear, visible gap, right, between where the stars stop. They go in like a zigzag formation all the way around, but they stop at a certain point, right? Why is there that big gap on the horizon? Shouldn't we be seeing, if we look out to the horizon, partially submerged stars on the water, right? Partially submerged and even lower to the water, but we never ever see that. So why is that if we're traveling through endless space at millions of miles an hour?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a difficult one to say as well, because I'm one of these people, right? I'm what you would call a, I don't know what you'd call it. I was going to say a natural scientist, but that's not right. What I was going to say is with me, right, when I say proof, say if I wanted you to prove something to me, I'd be quite happy to get the train down to where you live, mate, have a couple of beers or whatever. We'll probably have the beers afterwards, to be fair. But yeah, we'll set up some kind of test, which we can both watch at the same time. And at the end, shake hands and go, yeah, we both saw the same thing there, and we know what we're doing. So,
exactly.
Yeah, so these
that's what we should be doing. Can I just interject? We're welcome. Is it P Mars?
Yeah, it is. Hi, P Mars. You're right, mate.
Hi, just welcome it. Sorry, you're in the middle of a little discussion. Carry on, Brooke. I just wanted to welcome you in because I could see you there, and well, thank you for coming on. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, P Mars, whatever your real name is. Hello, man. Yeah, as you've sat there and you've been waiting to come on, you've listened to us gas on about our views. How about you tell us a little bit about what your view is?
Well, I mean, I was a 9/11 truther like since day one, basically, and so I've been on a quest for truth, and I came across flat Earth. For like many people, I didn't look at it for a long time. I dismissed it as silly. But I know that we live in a scientific dictatorship, what Aldous Huxley talks about, right? So I've never really been fully trusting on science. And eventually, one day, I decided to give Flat Earth a chance. I watched some of the videos, and I started to believe it. And I just kept doing research and trying to figure out, fact check what people were saying. But eventually, I came to the conclusion that I'm pretty convinced we live on a sphere now. And in fact, like, I think there is a conspiracy. I think flat Earth is a conspiracy, right? Because I did
certainly the boundaries of what we can get, where we're allowed to go, right? Our boundary of where we're physically allowed to travel to on this planet we're definitely restricted to a smaller area than what there is. I know that much for a fact.
Yeah, 100%.
So whether
Absolutely.
it's a big...
There is actually no real map or model of our Earth. No actual accurate real map or model. And can I just say, like, even for the sphere Earth, yeah, because, yeah, Admiral Byrd, there's reports of Admiral Byrd finding a vast continent the size of America beyond the ice wall, beyond the ice, yeah, right? So why isn't that on our maps? There's a massive continent the size of America that's missing from every single map known to mankind.
Yeah, and a friend of mine, this is again conjecture. I don't know whether this is true, but he's a relatively decent guy. I wouldn't expect him to make it up, right? He used to be in the Merchant Navy, and he said someone that he knew sailed around Antarctica, right, which is like 7,000 miles, and they were looking for a way in so they could land on Antarctica and get up on the ice. And they said they sailed around this thing like 50 times. They did about 600,000 miles round this bloody bit of ice to try and find a way on. And the weird thing was not that they couldn't find a way on. They didn't expect they were going to find a way on. The weird thing was all the way around it is all completely sheer. There's no steps or artifact, or there's no way to get up it unless you literally...
It's just a giant wall.
Yeah. There's no way you can get over it unless you literally got a military boat out there with a helicopter on it, all prepped and fueled and ready to go, and waited there for the helicopter to go up and come back down again.
Operation High Jump, mate. Operation High Jump, which is exactly what that was for. That expedition was to conquer the ice wall.
Yeah, and the thing that made me really suspicious is how is that not public?
Exactly.
That. Do you know what I mean? It's like, isn't that a big thing that, you know, there's a big unexplored bit that they've had a look at and they couldn't reach? It's like, shouldn't that be on the news? Oh my God, we found a new bit we can't reach.
You're right. Can we just go back to just Marsh just for a moment, because Marsh came into the conversation and he was actually thinking that.
Mate? What's your name, if you don't mind telling us your first name?
Patrick Marsden is my name.
Hi, Patrick.
That's okay, or Patrick.
Yeah. That's what P. Mars,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Patrick Marsden. So.
Sweet.
Just on the point, guys.
Yeah.
Just on the point, guys. You keep calling me JCB. I know that's my tag on there, but I'll show you my real name, right? I can. There is my real name.
Hi, Brock.
And my lucky number 13. Right, that's my jumper that I use for volunteering. It's got my name on it. So
I'm not a number. I'm a free man.
Yes, mate. That's the one.
The 13 is one God and a Trinity is a 3, right? That's why 13 is important, and that's why a lot of cultures don't like 13, because they basically don't like Christians. But
well,
Jews and Christians.
That's the day they went after the Pope and the royalty went after the Knights Templar and drove them out of England.
Yeah, they did that on purpose. They're trying to muddy the waters, man. You know what they do? They pick out days and numbers and events which should be positive and nice, and they link a load of negative bullcrap on there to make everyone.
They do that with everything. They reverse everything. Do you know what I mean? They absolutely do. But I'm really interested to hear Patrick's take, because Patrick came in and he said that he was actually going more towards the globe. Did I pick that up right? And you think it's a bit of a conspiracy? Is that right?
Yeah,
Patrick?
I was believing the flat Earth for a while and telling my friends and arguing and stuff. But I know in 2009 I got really into the idea that, okay, we all know the mainstream media is controlled and lies, right? But I believe a lot of the alternative media is also controlled opposition and lies. So I researched everything, all the people that are presenting information. I look into their backgrounds, and I looked into the history of flat Earth a little bit, and I found, okay, so like Freemasons are heavily involved in this thing, and that to me is a red flag, right? Because like if you're a Freemason, you swear an oath of secrecy. So you can't trust those people. And you look at like NASA, all the people that landed on the moon supposedly were Freemasons, and they've sworn oaths of secrecy. So I don't think we can trust Freemasons. And
descendants of Freemasons, or descendants of Freemasons.
All the ones that are on the moon and all the information. Sorry. So I was just saying, all the ones on the moon and all the information out there, like by your scientists and that, they are all, I've traced them back. They are in the Masonic elite. So the Freemasons are in the secret societies or some hierarchy, but they're always high up as well. Carry on.
So I did some research. I found, like, in my opinion, like, flat Earth has been introduced to the public from the Freemasons. I've got a video about Mark Sargent talking about Freemasonry, and one thing Mark Sargent always does this is a Masonic This is a Masonic hand gesture.
First degree. It's the first degree.
That is Masonic. And he's like, Mark Sargent is going around and like training people to do that. And it's in my opinion, he's initiating the profane into Freemasonry without them.
Can I just say something there? No, wait there. You can't tar everybody with the same brush. Like, I personally have never even watched Mark Sargent's videos. I didn't even hear about him until I started doing YouTube. Yeah. So I honestly, like, you can't, like, there might be infiltrators out there. There's going to be infiltrators in everything. Do you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, you can't tar everyone with the same brush. I wouldn't even waste my time. I've heard things about, do you know what I mean, certain people, and I wouldn't waste my time on there because of that reason.
I'll fess up straight away, right? I got a bit of a history of Freemasons because some of my family, my great granddad was buried with his blue book, right? And I fell out with him massive, right? And I didn't know him that well. I personally got tortured by Freemasons in a hospital, right? I got taken to a hospital in an ambulance, which weren't real ambulance, didn't have NHS stickers. They looked more like security guards, big muscly guys, right? Put me in handcuffs, took me off in the middle of the night when I was homeless, right? And I wake up in hospital, banged up in there, no communication with the outside world. I was in there for 8 weeks, right? And they tortured the absolute they weren't very nice to me, right? I come out with injuries and all kinds of stuff, PTSD, right? But what I'm saying is, yes, Freemasons in general distrust, but descendants of Freemasons, I'm one of them, so don't distrust me. So it's got to be an individual basis, right? Yes, Freemasons in general are a dodgy society, which we don't like and we don't trust, but there's plenty of guys in there who are on our side. And they're in there because they're on our side. They don't like it.
Yeah, I was going to say then what you said is dead right. Obviously, there's corrupt people in every form of life. So whether you're a descendant or you're a Freemason, you've got people who've gone into things with good intentions, seen what they were, and then tried to get out. And there's no way out of it. Then secret societies, once you're in, I'm sure of it. But like you said, just because you're a descendant or married to one or whatever, you've got some blood relative, doesn't mean that you get stained with the same tarred with the same brush, even though you've got nothing to do with it. But when going back to what Patrick was saying, I agree what you're saying. I know what you're saying. What it did was it put you off, and there red flags up there. And to me, you seem like you were a level-headed truther, but then you've looked at all the negative side and then probably come to your own conclusions from there. Now, what I want to say before I let you carry on is what I've done is I've realized now, and it's took me a while. Like I've been a truther now for about 18 years, and I've done my the last 3 years I've delved into the flat earth scene to try and debunk it, to try and agree with it, whatever, just to see what's what. Do you know what I mean? So what I do now is I've realized that it does matter to some extent. But if the truth is the truth, no matter who the messenger, right? So if they're speaking some truth, just because they speak some lies or they get some things wrong, you have to be able to try and differentiate what's the lies and what's the not. And that's what our job is. We're detectives, really. We're like detectives. We're researchers. We're detectives. We're trying to detect the truth from the bullshit out there,
That's
right?
A good point, Vic. You've made a really good point there.
So we can't just because someone comes flagged up as shill or they're flagged up as this. They'll still speak some truth in that. They'll still put some truth out there, even the bad ones.
Just on a point, right?
Sorry, because Patrick could be Patrick, to carry on. What do you think? After what Victoria's just said to you? I know you didn't get to finish your whole your conversation, mate. I understand that, but after what Victoria has just said to you, what do you think?
I agree. I think it's just like what I'm bringing up is a red flag that I think truth people should be aware of. These red flags. Like my dad was a Grand Master of the Knights of Columbus. I never joined it or anything. But so I can relate to you saying you have family that are Freemasons. It doesn't necessarily mean. I think 99% of Masons are good people. Like I think it's just these secret societies, fraternal orders, the mysteries, what you want to call them, are used as recruiting ground. They give people tests. If they test people in these secret societies and they're like, okay, this person's willing to turn against humanity, and then they promote them. And every time you get promoted, they go, okay, everything you learned in the first level, that's all a lie. This is the real truth. And then when you get promoted again, they say the same thing to you. So I would never join. Like they're never going to tell you the truth. all these, they're just
I'll
about
let you into
lies.
a little secret about the. I'll let you into a little secret about these Masonic societies, right? And I actually stood in a room and heard them all say this and agree this, right? And the top level of what I saw, well, it's obviously not the top level, but, you know, like 9th degree is the top where I saw, and then 32nd degree is who I knew, right? And what they say is, and this is their mantra, you believe whatever you need to believe. So they don't actually, the only belief that they have is Lucifer. What they call him, I can't remember the name, Abraham something, right? Which is this goat-headed thing, right? But it's a form of Lucifer. That's the only absolute in
Baphomet and Baal, they all worship. It's all Saturn worship, basically. It all leads back to Saturn worship, the whole shebang.
Yes.
My history is ancient, well, not history, my research is ancient cosmology, religion, and also all the other truths and stuff like that, and it's all saying the same thing. When you said there about the different degrees, it to me, from what I've learned, because I've got occult books, which is hidden knowledge. That's all it is. It's hidden knowledge, and you don't have to join these secret societies just to get this knowledge as well. You can just go and just bloody get it on the internet. Do you know what I mean? You just have to look for it.
You know what? Another thing people don't know about, right, with these secret societies is sometimes they get you to work for them, and you don't even know that you're doing it. You think you're doing it yourself. I've had it before. I investigated a burnt down church, right? No, listen, this is important, right? I investigated a burnt down church. I was investigating local pedos in the government, right? Not big ones, just local councillors, right? Who were in my town. And I went into this church got burnt to the ground, right? So the next day after it got burnt down, I jumped in, went over the barbed wire and that. And I seriously thought I was in there investigating pedos, right? What I was actually in there doing was collecting all the evidence against these pedos and getting fucking rid of it for them. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear there. I had no idea of that. And I was so messed up in the head once I realised I'd been used like that. I made a mistake, and that's how I got homeless. And when I was homeless, they planned for me to be homeless, and they jumped on me within 2 days, even though they shouldn't have known where I was. And my family, well, they got to my family. My family were completely ignoring me, and I couldn't figure out why. So these are so sneaky. They can make you work for them, and you won't even know until you've already completed it and done it.
And it's part of the brainwashing, and it's part of the MK Ultra as well, because they're also versed in MK Ultra. They are.
It's more than that, because I wasn't brainwashed. I was like led with logic and clues that were faked and put there for them to find.
And if you believe your lie, then when you go on like YouTube and talk, no one can tell you're lying. That's the best liar is someone who believes it. You're a willing dupe. They use you. That's why I say, like, don't join groups. If you join two groups trying to get you to join each group, turn around and run, because they're going to use you. And
was right. It was my group.
Bill Cooper is an excellent example. Bill Cooper, he was ex-Navy intelligence, right? And he had friends in the military who were feeding him disinformation about aliens and UFOs, right? And he realized he was going around telling everyone about aliens and UFOs on the conspiracy tours, thinking he's doing the right thing, telling the truth. Then he realized eventually that he was being fed wrong information from people he trusted, right? Yeah. And he went around and started saying that. He started saying, look, there's no aliens. It's all a lie. And at that point, they tried to kill him. He was driving in a motorcycle, and they tried to run him off the road, and he lost his leg. So they manipulate. They're so good at. We have to be very careful. That's why I say it's like so hard to know what the truth is. One of the best thing I could think of is, like, I've studied propaganda, Edward Bernays, and once you learn propaganda techniques and like the subliminal messages and what they're trying to program in people, then you can start to go, okay, well, this opinion I had, it's not really my opinion. I just got indoctrinated to believe this. And that's like how you discover the truth. I think the best way to discover the truth.
Right, okay, I totally agree. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there as well. But what you mentioned about before, about groups and things like that. Now,
I was going to say, like, so you.
I know you were. I know you were. But at the moment as well, Patrick, this is a little bit of bane of contention for us at the moment, right? So just to give you a little bit of a brief history, okay? Myself, Victoria, and Tom were part of what was once the UK's biggest flat Earth group, right? What was once. And basically, Victoria was an admin in that, and we were campers. Anyway, cut a long story short, it was a group of people. There possibly may have been infiltrators in there. There was all kinds of people in there with different belief systems, etc., right? Anyway, the shit hit the fan on this particular group and we parted ways. But what Victoria did, she decided to set up another camp for people that would still like to come to the camp environment. Now, we have been called out, right? Because we're classed as a group. We're also being called out as a cult, right? And we've been all over the internet, all over YouTube, within the flat earth community because of this. And it has caused a whole heap of crap, hasn't it, Vic?
Yeah. Can I interject there as well, Les? Basically, the group situation for me is, there is really wrong people and wrong organizations. And when you've got like a hierarchy in a group where you've got somebody calling the shots and saying who should be doing what, and it comes in a hierarchy like a pyramid system, I'd say, yeah, you're dead right. Stay clear, get the fuck out. And we're after 9 o'clock anyway, guys, so it's after the watershed. So
yes, at last.
So I'm calling the plug on the non-swearing business because I fucking swear. So fuck this shit. Sorry. Yeah, anyhow, what I would say is, what it's done, it's made everybody who knows that these infrastructures are bad in place get scared of a group situation. Now we've got to use our own like, our own common sense, our own senses, and see that if you can see that it's just a group of people that is just literally, making plans like, we're going to be here doing this, do you want to join us? That's not the same as someone saying, I'm leading this, follow me. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference. That your way is the wrong way. You should do this. Basically, I think this.
Basically, what she's saying is, that we're just a group of friends that share the same ideas, and there's nothing wrong with friends getting together, especially to do things like activism events and camping. All we're doing is opening a door for like camping events for like-minded people to come. There's no hierarchy. Victoria set the group up, but she's not our leader. By all means, fucking hell. I'm not against like Victoria, but I couldn't have someone like that as my leader. Like, fucking hell, imagine if she ran the country. Fucking hell, it's bad enough for fucking, what's her name in it? Theresa May. This one here.
I would just do what she told me. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't argue, just fucking do it. Go home, innit? Take a knee and what's happening is what's happening is in society now is this, like, the scaring us away from coming together, because that's the only way to beat it. Unity is what is controlling us now. The government's unity against us. So the only way to destroy unity is with unity. So we need to unite together to get rid of the fucking evil that's in the system. You're right. Do you know what I mean? But like, what they've done is they've put a red flag there. They've put a red flag there, like, oh, don't go into groups. Like, and that's how they've got us. We can't. There's no way to destroy this system unless we unite as a one force. Do you know what I mean? You can be all self-empowered. Each one of us could be self-empowered, but then they're still governing all of us as a group. Do you know what I mean? Right. We have to come together as that group.
Right, Tom. Let me just step in there. You are completely right, guys. You both need to sit back just a little bit, Vic and Tom. You need to sit back just a little bit.
I don't feel comfortable sitting back, Les, so I'm sorry.
It's both of you anyway, just to let you know. But also, Patrick, you were saying, sorry, about, coming back to the group thing.
Patrick,
anyway.
MK Ultra, and the Patrick, this is for you specifically, mate, because I think you'll know about this. Did you ever download and read the MK Ultra official CIA deprogramming manual by Fritz Springmeier? It's like 500.
No, but I did read Kathy O'Brien's book.
Yeah, and Kathy O'Brien as well. Oh my god, that shook me to the core, mate. Literally, that was one of the first things I read like years ago.
Yeah, I got really into like reading about that stuff, and then
it's sickening, isn't it? Because first of all,
it's sick because of the stuff they do to children.
Like, first of all, I didn't believe it. I thought it was fake. Then I thought it's real, and it's actually worse than it seems. And now I just think it's just reality.
Reading about the abuse to children was like too much for me to take. I had to stop looking into that stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what got me into this, you know?
Yeah.
That's
because like you get it, you're like, you hear about children getting hurt, and that just like makes you so angry and wants to,
know, the shit that I've seen. If you've seen it, you'd be so angry. Like when I went into that burnt down church, right? The stuff that these guys made me get rid of when I thought I was giving it in to the police to get looked at, right? And I actually gave it to these police, and they burnt it. right? Some of the evidence I got out of this secret room in this burnt down church, right, was a baby walker. You know, the little plastic round thing that a baby walks around in? One of those little baby shirts with rips in the back and covered in blood and stuff. The worst thing was like a bamboo spear about 4.5, 5 foot long with a hole drilled through the middle of it, right? So liquid can pass through it. And it had like a red staining on it. So what it looked like is it's been designed to be stabbed into an artery and then drain all the blood out through the bamboo. I found a bag full of broken teeth, which were far too small to be an adult.
That's creepy.
Like smashed up bits of.
That's dangerous. Trying to expose those satanic pedophile cults is dangerous. I want to make one real quick point about the groups thing. I didn't mean to criticize what you guys were doing. I didn't even know what you, but I just want to give a quick example of like what happened in America. There was a group called the Black Panthers, led by a man named Huey P. Newton, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They got infiltrated by the CIA. They got infiltrated by the CIA, and the CIA even let the group know that the CIA was infiltrated it to cause paranoia and gaslight them, right? And
well, you're paralyzed at that point.
They ended up killing Huey P. Newton. They killed Huey P. Newton, and then the Black Panthers went from like this really positive organization trying to expose truth, and there's still like remnants of it. Like there's a lot of black people in America that are aware of like true conspiracies and stuff. So, but the CIA got into that group, divided it, and now they're the Bloods and the Crips, and now they kill each other. And this is how we got to realize that this is how the enemy operates. And if you form a group, they will try to infiltrate it and get your whole group fighting. And that's what
only one way around.
So I think a better solution is to let us all be lone wolf badasses. That's what I like to say.
Right. I need to interject here now, right? You know what? I actually think what you're saying is awesome. Yeah, we empower ourselves first, but one person on their own is not as powerful as a lot of people together. We have to be aware of the divide and conquer rule, because I was in the military. My background is military as well. And that is one of the basic things of what they do. They basically put all of us into fractions, even the flat earth, globe earth, the rest of it. It's all making us fight each other instead of turning around and saying, who the fucking liars are. Whether we agree on everything, at the end of the day, these are the corrupt people who are running us and living off the backs of us, and we need them gone. We need to all come together as one people. Doesn't matter what color, what race, what religion, what sexuality, whatever. We have all been abused. We've all been abused by their system, their rules, and them. And at the end of the day, this chat, what we're having, is absolutely awesome, because whether we agree on some pedantics and what have you, at the end of the day, like we personally think that, you know, one of the biggest lies is the flat earth, because everything on the flat earth, everything on earth is on it. All the lies, what consists on it, are on it, and it all stems back to everything links, everything's interlinked. So it's amazing that we're doing this, and the fact that you two both, I know you both come on from the globe earth perspective, but you've come on and you're both open-minded truthers, and that's all we need. Everybody needs to be open-minded. Once you're open-minded to the corruption, you can start seeing all the rest of it, and that's the way forward for everything, basically.
I just want to interject as well, be your own leader, but work with other leaders to achieve your goals. That's what the elites are doing now. They're all the leader of their own country, but they're all together serving at one agenda. So we can all be our own leaders of what we are, because we are our own. We come into this world alone, you go out on it alone. Do you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean you can't work with fellow people, fellow leaders,
fellow humans. I think as long as you have not sold your soul, once you sell your soul, then you're not human anymore. So as long as you've not sold your soul, you are human. And if you're human, you're on my side. I'm on your side. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we should have one common agenda, which is to get rid of the powers that be. And I mean, I'm not talking about the governments; they're just the puppets. I'm talking about the Masonic elite who are ruling it, which is the top of the Vatican, the top of the royals, and the bankster families. They're running the fucking shebang, and we all know this. We all know.
What was you going to say, Patrick?
I was gonna say real quick, I agree about the leadership thing. I think that'd be a good topic for a podcast. Is how to be a good leader.
Mate.
Because
well, do you know what I was going to say? I didn't get a chance to say it. I didn't get a chance to say earlier, but there's one way that everyone can stay aligned in a team, no matter who has what views, right? And what you do is establish a common goal, which is absolute at the beginning, right? So everyone's pointing in the same direction, no matter what fallouts and what arguments. We all get back together when this thing is mentioned, right? And that's what we got to figure out. What is our ultimate, absolute priority? What is our goal?
It's the liars. It's the liars who are lying to us. Whether you want to think that some liars.
Our ultimate priority is to strip the powers that be from their powers.
Because they're lying.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's not our ultimate thing. Is not because they're lying. It's because we don't want to be lied to.
Anarchy. Yeah? It's anarchy. It's not accepting. It's anarchy.
I love it when you bring up anarchy.
Right, so we're all talking over each other. Can I just suggest that if when someone's speaking, we put our mute on, and then and we just let the other person speak as well. And then otherwise we're jumping in, and even if we have to wave, to say like my turn.
That's good. Let's talk about anarchy then. Let's talk about anarchy.
I'm down with anarchy. I think it's funny when you bring up anarchy, you get the same response. Oh, but then the person with the biggest guns and evil warlords are going to rule the world. It's like, hello, what do you think's happening now?
What we got already. The thing is with anarchy, right? I kind of studied this a bit, and this is again conjecture. I don't know whether it's true, but it seems to me every time where we've seen anarchy happen naturally in a country, it always turns into communism in the end. And I don't really like the idea of that because I'm not really, I don't know, I'm just not convinced about communism because it suffers the same stuff as what capitalism does. The few people giving out the food, they keep it for themselves.
I agree what you're saying. I agree what you're saying, but we'll need to keep that for a separate issue because that could lead away from anarchy. We just want to talk about anarchy itself right now, but I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, okay, fair one. Okay, well, I don't really know much about anarchy. I've got a few anarchist friends and stuff, but they're not like that committed. So please, if you can enlighten me, I'd love to learn.
Certainly. So basically, anarchy means not accepting a government, doesn't it? It means not accepting rule, yeah? That we should all be able to come together like we did probably thousands of years ago and be able to trade with one another and share things. And do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if the government didn't exist, roads would still get built. Do you get what I mean when I say that?
Yeah, I kind of see what you mean, but I do think that there's, I think it was Victoria that was lauding the values of teamwork and loyalty, and from being her experience in the military, right? And I immediately thought, I'm going to listen to her. There's a lady that knows about teamwork, right? So even though I like the idea that people are allowed to be an anarchist, I'm happy for people to be anarchists. I would still be on Victoria's team of not being an anarchist because I want to have a team that I can rely on, who can rely on me. I'm not just in a narco unit doing my own thing. I'm caring about my friends and I want to be on their team. I'm like a family member. Like
can I interject there?
You asked me, I'll probably do it.
Yeah, can I interject there? Right, basically, I get what Leslie's coming from because basically the definition of anarchy is against the, a government body ruling you, right? Which we are all anarchists because we're against the known governing body ruling us, right? But what's happened with the word anarchy is it's been misconstrued and been made to be someone who smashes things up and is very riotous and all the rest of it. So we automatically think, and this is the programming coming in, that we automatically think that this is a bad word, it's a bad thing, but it's not. It's against the main governing body, what's governing you. Now, it doesn't mean that there shouldn't be another system, there shouldn't be another way of living, because if you're living, say, eco-friendly in an eco-village, you're still living in a system. You've got a system of living symbiotic. I am all for symbiotic, living off the land and trading with one another, loving peacefully, peace and harmony, basically. I know it's idealistic, but that is the way that we...
It works. We like that idea.
Yeah. That is the way that we should be, because when you get people in general, us as people, we don't want to be fighting with one another. It's only the ruling powers that be that make us go to war and stuff like that. That's because they make soldiers go and join up, because they've got no better way of life, and that it's a good wedge of money, and then you get the camaraderie, and our family systems are all broken down. But that's because their system has broken us down in the first place.
Yeah.
Now, if we didn't have that system and we was all if you could imagine, say, a tribal community, so I don't know, Native American Indians or whatever, pick a tribal structure, what you can think of, what works. So they're living off the land, they're not taking too much, they take what they need, they give back. Do you know what I mean? It's give and take, and it's do no harm, and that's my philosophy. Give and take, do no harm, because we should be helping each other. We've gone into this selfish society where it's like we don't mean nothing, and we might as well live for now and look after number one, and fuck your neighbour, fuck your friends. It doesn't matter really.
Someone's just put a comment called "Lifting the Lid," right? Excuse me. Lifting the Lid has put a comment: "Anarchist equals voluntarianism," right? And I think that's quite an interesting idea, because although I just said I'm not an anarchist, I agree with the idea of freedom. You can be an anarchist if you want, but I'm not one. I don't agree with it for me. But actually, if anarchist equals voluntarianism, then I am an anarchist, because I've been volunteering off my own back for nearly 20 years. I've tried doing it with companies, but I don't like the way they operate, so I always end up leaving. That's why I got the crazy show name on it, you know.
When you said anarchy, you don't agree with it. It's because the mainstream version of anarchy is not a good thing. But that's not actually what the definition of anarchy is. It's basically going against the mainstream society's, programming and system.
Those people who are going to wreck anarchy, the ones that you just mentioned, who the government says, oh, yeah, this is what anarchy results in. The only people who end up doing that, if anarchy was a system, are the people who previously were the government. Do you know what I mean? They will be out to wreck anarchy, and they will do that. They will be a disease, and they will make sure it turns into communism. So that's why I think everyone's free to be an anarchist in their heart, if that's what they're like. And I like the idea of that, but I just don't think if everyone was an anarchist, obviously these guys have got history, of working together, and I think that's a losing battle.
That's almost organized. It's almost like organized crime, that as well. So we're trying to step away from that. So whether you call yourself an anarchist or a peace-loving human, but if you're using it in the way that what I'm meaning it as, which is the true definition of it, which is not conforming to the mainstream powers that be, then that's different.
Because I'm not entirely sure if there's two types of anarchists, because I've seen an anarchist logo, which is an A in a circle.
Yeah, the A.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It looks good. Yeah, it's a cool logo. But the other one I've seen is a 5-point star with one side of it's red, one side of it's green, one side of it's blue, one side of it's purple, right? And it's got a yellow dot in the middle. And that is actually a Luciferian insignia.
Yeah,
I was going to say, it sounds like Luciferian and kind of
I know what you're on about, because I obviously in my studies I've looked into all the the religion and all the stuff like that. And basically what they do is they take some truth, and then they twist it on its head, and then they give you the evil Masonic bullshit version. And then people get onto that as well. So they think it's all the same thing, but it's not. It's like, even like, we're going to get, some people might go up in arms when the swastika, which it's not. It's original.
The symbol for fertility, love, or something, didn't it? And
what is it? It's peace and eternity. It's an eternal symbol, and it's
meant to be spiral, everlasting spiral, going that way.
Well, that's the Fibonacci sequence.
When they reverse it, it's a black hole.
Yeah.
So the first one is creation, and the reverse is destruction.
The dollar sign is an ancient symbol of a snake around a pole, which is a symbol of control.
Yeah,
I really think money is like Freeman Fly. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He referred to money as a magic spell cast on humanity by the sorcerers of Atlantis. I like that.
That's fucking excellent, man. I love that.
I think money is definitely this, like, they brainwashed us to believe that if there was no money, no one would work because they need this incentive. But I don't believe that. I think people just want to work. Like, it'd be boring just sitting around doing nothing all day. Like, you want to work, you want to contribute to the tribe, you want to help your community.
You know, I think it's weird we have this notion that we're given. This is brainwashing. This is a fucking conspiracy, right? Work. Think about that. If me and you and your family and my family, we all lived out in the middle of nowhere in a forest, we wouldn't be doing work. We'd be waking up thinking, right, let's build a shelter, let's get food, let's build defenses, let's learn how to trade, let's meet with the other people, let's learn all the locations. That is work. Life is work.
Yeah.
But we've been trained to believe that life is not work and work is work, and we need to work in order to live. That's the conspiracy.
Do you know what
homes, can I just chip in there? Our homes are effectively our own little prison boxes that we pay for ourselves.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm lucky. I get mine paid for, but yeah, apart from that, it's still the same.
What they did, sorry, can I interject as well? What they did, right, a long time ago, I reckon they literally enslaved us in physical chains, and they made us work for them, right? Because that's what all they need. They need workers, they need our energy, right? And what happened was people wanted to escape and they wanted to be free, and it wasn't conducive to them. So what they did was they took the chains off and they said, right, be free. And they said, but if you turn up at 6 a.m, I will give you these slave tokens, money, and I will pay you this money to do this shit job. So people went, and then you can buy things with it. So people went, oh, go on then. And they turned up at 6 a.m. and did the shit job anyway, what they was before previously being whipped and chained to do. And now they did. And now, we're still free. We're still free. Bollocks. We're slaves with an illusion of freedom.
Right. You know the thing about overpopulation? I just started formulating a little theory now, and it's like, think about 200 years ago, right? You would do, say 200 years ago, you had to chop down 10 trees, and you'd get paid a penny for your 10 trees. You'd take your penny back home, and you'd be able to buy like a week's shopping and pay your rent and all the rest of it, right? And it'd only take one person to do 10 trees. Fast forward that to today. How many people does it take to cut down 10 trees today? It takes loads of people, loads of machines, loads more money. So what we've actually done is gone backwards. 200 years ago, we could efficiently get one guy to cut down 10 trees, get paid a penny, and that penny would go a distance. Now, it takes 100 people to cut down 10 trees. It costs more than the trees will sell for. So to make up for that, they inflate the economy, and that is the slavery. So
Definitely.
It's not a chain. What the chain is attached to the food. The
I
food is being enslaved, and we have to try and buy it back off them. Even though
we're buying our lives back off them, and at the end of the day, we had our lives free anyway. We just have to not consent. But people don't realize they have a choice. And this is what we need to. This is part of why I think the flat Earth is an amazing thing, because we're telling people that, like, not only like I get what you're coming from, that, you know, there's a lot of dubious sources and things like that, and I totally get that. But the facts are, we all the theory and the conjecture and all the the designs of Earth, right? None of us know. Not one of us know. But what we can do on the basics, I'm just going to say these basics, is we can measure it. Measures flat. And we can also do experiments to prove there's no spin. So that, for me, it just proves flat Earth. But you have to go and do that yourself, because you can't take my word for it or any other man's word for it. But you can do these things yourself with your own eyes, your own senses, and in person. So that is that for the flat Earth thing. But the rest of it, with the slavery thing, what we have to do, I think, as a society, and I've got a plan. What my plan is, to basically, I've not got a time scale. I'd love to do it tomorrow, but I don't think it's possible, is to buy land, which in the UK, this is using, your slave tokens and stuff, buy as much land as possible. I've got enough people who want to do this type of thing, but it's going to, for me personally, it's going to be years. I can't even see when, but years. Buy land. With that land, you can basically set up, because I've been to an eco-village and watched how it runs itself. So you have an eco-village situation where you all have your own homes, you all have your own bit of land, but then you've got like a communal kitchen garden. The eco-village that I went to had a cafe. It had like a touristy thing where they come and see all the ecological ways of living. So you're living off the land and conducive with that and in symbiotic. Had a farm and all the rest of it. And then you could have like a gathering area. You could have a campsite, what brings in some more money, which a touristy type thing can do, which you can have talks on, you can have music in an evening, and then the rest of your land, you can have festivals, farmers market, and then when you get your money, you buy more land and you set another community up. And we keep doing this. We keep doing this so that people can see there's a better way. We don't need this system. We need each other. We give and we take, and we trade with each other. We trade and we do no harm. So we all do our passion, our talent, our skill, and then the shit jobs that no one wants to do, we share. So no fucker gets the same shit job all week long, week in, week out, month in, month out, and that's their life. That's shit. Anyone can cope with a shit job for a day or an hour or whatever, but they can't cope with it for the rest of their life. It's fucking soul destroying. But that's, I think, the way forward.
I agree with every word of that, but there's only one problem with that, and I face this myself, right, is even though nobody likes nobody likes doing these shit jobs, that's true. I don't like them, you don't like them, they are shit jobs, there's no doubt, right? But they do need to get done by somebody, right? And nobody wants to do them. So how do you elect who's going to do them, and how do you make them?
As a community, I would suggest, right, if this was me saying, like, let's do this, let's do that, you don't have to do it. You have to agree. Like, if you want to, you've got a choice. I would suggest that everybody gets an equal share. But there's not going to be one shit job. There's going to be quite a few shit jobs. So then, say you don't want to do your shit job one day. Listen. So say you don't want to do your shit job one day, or you can't do it. Then you trade with someone else's shit job on another day, and you say, right, well, can you manage my shit job for this day or this hour, and I'll do yours next week? And they go, yeah, you go, mate. I'll do that. Yeah, go on.
But do you know what I think is this is the one thing where AI and technology can be used really well. At the moment, because of the way the economy works, when the machines start doing all the simple jobs, right, people can't afford the machines taking their jobs. So that's what's holding back progress. But if you think about it, if nobody had to work, if we all just agreed that everything that needs doing gets done and everything that doesn't need doing maybe, what we would then do is delegate all these shit jobs to computers and machines, and we would just have a programmer sat there running it, and it wouldn't be a shit job anymore.
They're doing it already, man. They're doing it already because AI, right? You've made a really good point there, actually. This is going to take you down another route now. So AI and what's it called again? Sorry, let me just take a drink.
There's nothing in that, Les. You need more drink.
Yeah. So AI and the transhumanism movement is obviously becoming very prominent. And when you look at, like, DARPA, for instance, another kind of, undercover kind of organization, what they're creating, is so sinister. It's just like Anarchy. It's just so sinister. So if all that they would have to do basically is weaponize those things. So give them facial recognition. They could, like, round people up at any bloody moment. Do you know what I mean? They're going to take away our jobs. So we're going to be a less employed population in the next 15 to 20 years. And I think that we're going to go back into the period of, I can't remember what the actual terminology, but if you've seen the film They Live, people are living in, like, gulags and shit outside, just live, you know what I mean, in tents and stuff like that. So that's what I mean. That's how it's going to go, because they're not going to need people, because they won't have to pay people. Do you know what I mean? So that's a scary thought. That for me is this whole kind of AI transhumanism thing and getting robots to do everything.
Can I interject as well with this, right? I totally agree with what you're saying, Les. And what you said before, Brooke, are you still there?
Yeah, he is.
I think he's gone. Have we lost him?
He said in the chat his battery died.
Oh,
we can come back to him anyway. It's not a problem.
Yeah. Well, what he said before then about, where we can have machines that could do these shit jobs, which is a great idea when it's only on a small scale level. The trouble is, everything in this system is about building money and greed, isn't it? It's not about doing things on a personal level, what can just help each individual soul. It's about making the most so we can make the most money. That's what it's about. So on a small scale, I think that some robotics of some form can help us out. But on a massive scale, then it's about putting the human being to the back of the queue and profits becoming profit over people again, isn't it?
Yes,
so that's where it's bad. And that's where really I'd say at the end of the day, we could do without most of it, because when you're looking at the shit jobs, if you're living in a small community, in a rural area, you could literally share them out into just the odd bit here and there. So yeah, you could trade your shit job one day if you can't do it or whatever for something else. And if you're only doing it for a day or even a few hours or whatever, most of us can put up with that. But if you think about it in general, in this society, majority of us have shit jobs continuously. So for a few hours, you can usually like go, do you know what? And you want to muck in. You'd want to, I personally would, maybe not everyone would, but that's each their own. No one who doesn't want to contribute to being part of a community would be part of a community. And I think as well, we could still have our hermits on the outskirts who want to just interject occasionally, and they don't like, you know, take as much as what we take and give and take. You only take what you need and give what you can. That's what I think. It's take what you need and give what you can. And we just need the other rule is do no harm. If you do no harm to yourself, to others, to the land, to anything, do you know what I mean? There's not much more. It's just morals, and it's basic morals and principles.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Patrick.
I was just gonna say, I feel like I'd be more willing to work a shit job than work at Walmart or something, because I feel like I would be helping my community, helping my little tribe, and I feel more appreciated. Like if I'm working at Walmart or something, I feel like an asshole working for some faceless corporation. That hates humanity.
Patrick, what I'm saying is, like, say you've got a passion, a talent, and a skill, so you do that, right? That's your main job. That's what you do. So whether it's art, music, or something practical, right? Whatever it is, some people love cooking, some people love cleaning. Do you know what I mean? Some people love engineering. You go into what your passion is, and that's your talent, right? But then there'll be some communal jobs, what not every that no one wants to do, and then they're the ones that we literally say, well, do you know what? A few hours a year that needs to get done. So we decide when it happens, and we do it.
We're going around in circles now, Dom. We've said this 3 times, so we need to.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying about it. It's not every day. That's what I'm meaning.
I know what the elite would do if you did that. Like, I think it's a good idea. Here's my role is to be negative, and here's what's. I think the government would label you a cult.
Yeah.
The media, everyone to think you're evil, and they would try and destroy you, try and levy taxes at you that were unreasonable and all.
Yeah,
you're facing a real hard battle doing this. But I would love to see people just leave society, fuck society, leave society in masses, go start your own small little tribes, and fuck.
That's it.
And just because we think it might not work doesn't mean we shouldn't try it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I'd rather die trying.
Yeah, die trying. I'd rather die trying than bow to them. Keep bowing to them.
We were dead right. We would get opposition, and we would get. But I also think that if we don't try, what's the alternative? We put up with what we've got.
I've kind of figured out a little niche with poker to kind of live outside the system somewhat. Well, I don't know. I learned poker. I was like, okay, the Illuminati are dumbing people down and making them predictable. So I'll take advantage of that. And I got good at poker, and I can kind of like do what I want now, and I'm independently wealthy. Well, I still have to do poker to make money, but
tell us how.
Yeah, it's really hard. There's no easy solutions. It's like everything is about hard work. If I really believe, like, if you want something, you set your mind to it, you can achieve anything. Read books, make yourself smart. That's, I don't know. I think the best way to be happy is just to keep trying to improve yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually every day. Just keep trying to improve, keep trying to be better. That's like all you can really do. That's all you can ask for. So
that's really true, that. And let's talk about manifestation, just as you're on that topic as well. You know, it's like if you put your mind to anything, you know, you can produce, you can get it, you know. And it's like, if you look, when I woke as a truther, the night before, I was in such a dark place in my life. I was 33 as well, which is a significant age, and it was 2012, which was the supposed mind awakening. So there was all that was involved in it as well. So what happened was, there was this night I went to bed, and I just called out with my heart intention, with my heart and mind, and I basically said, look, if there is somebody out there watching over me, I really need some help right now. I feel so lost, you know, etc. And the very next day, I came down, went on my laptop, and I never used to go on YouTube at all. But my hand was guided, and for some reason I went on YouTube and I stumbled across this video which was about the 2012 Olympic conspiracy in London, the building of the stadium and how it was all Masonic and everything like that. And it was by a conspiracy theorist who's now dead because he got took out, unfortunately.
I remember this actually.
Yeah, so basically what happened was, as I said, and then that led me down the route of becoming a truther then, because I watched that and I thought to myself, do you know what? If that is true, that's really dark shit, that. Really dark shit. So then you get your recommended views to watch after that, don't you? So it recommended me to watch The Arrivals. I don't know if you've heard of The Arrivals, guys, but it's an amazing series of films. And it rocked me to my very core because it's about Lucifer and everything and the Illuminati and symbolism within society. Now we've all been programmed, etc. But it's basically from a Muslim's perspective, and it was amazing. But it was that amazing, it blew my little mind wide open. I phoned in sick the next day, and then the next day again, and then the next day again. And then my partner came back from Scotland after a business, and he walked into a completely different person. It was like, what the hell is wrong with you? We start raving loony. So, you know, I manifested.
So you've gone from being Leslie before to like was it a weekend?
It was 3 days, so it was like Monday to Wednesday.
To being a completely different perspective, almost like a completely different. You were still you, but you basically changed your reality in that weekend.
Yeah, it was just outstanding, and I mean, like when Mark came back, he was just like, it really affected our relationship quite badly as well for a while. I went into depression because I was looking into what we were talking about before, you know, like paedophile circles and things like that, going really deep into the rabbit hole. And it just broke me. It absolutely broke me. And I think that it has to break you for you to really appreciate what's going on in this world. Yeah. And that in itself also builds you as spiritually, I think, as well. It makes you realize the ills of this world and what we're having to deal with.
I think if I could go back in time and do things different, like one thing I hear a lot of flat earthers talk about, it kind of breaks my heart, is how it breaks apart their families and friendships because they believe different. And that's what happened to me with 9/11 Truth. I became so obsessed with 9/11 Truth. I had to make all my friends have the same opinion as me about 9/11 because I wanted to make, you know, a difference in the world. And it's like the save the world programming, I think, that they give us in the alternative media. And we need, if I could go back and do things differently, I think maintaining your relationships is more important than waking your friends and family up. And I think you really just got to kind of live in your head and realize that other people aren't really ready for this stuff. And they're just not going to, there's some people you just can't get through to, and you're just going to do more harm.
I totally agree with you there, and I've done the same. I've jumped onto the bandwagon straight away. When you start finding these things out, you start telling people, you're like, wow, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. And then they're like, I don't want to look at this. I'd rather not even look at you now, and I don't even want to look at you, and I'm going to go away. And that's what people do. But now we're getting a little bit further on, and in general, yeah, we are still shouting what we know out from the rooftops. But like this talk now, obviously we're coming from different perspectives. Not all of us are, some of us are. But we've got a common factor. And even if the ones that don't even see any of the truths, they've still got one common factor. They haven't sold the souls, they're still a human being. And usually there's someone who you've known from the past or you've got a blood relation to. So we have got to be like a little bit more understanding. And I only talk about what I know if I'm asked. Now, if I'm asked, then I bring it up. And then they go, oh, it's too much. And I go, well, don't ask me then, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to ask me, I'm going to answer. But if you don't want to know, I can talk bollocks to you all day long if I really have to. But don't ask me the questions, because I will tell you what I've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. We channel it in a completely different way now as well, though, Patrick. So just to bring you up to date, if you didn't know, myself, Victoria and Tom are part of the biggest flat earth activism group within the UK. And we've done this past 12 months, we've done a lot of the major cities around the UK. We've had big banners, big presentations, a professional setup. Do you know what I mean? Putting our case forward, you know, using observations, using modern day equipment, you know, doing our own experiments and things like that. Absolutely. And I mean, the interest that we've had from this, and Roxanne will put some links up and everything so you can have a look. But if you just have a look at John Smith's Global Eye channel on YouTube, if you want to make a note of that, that's where all the main activism that we've done on there.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's been the most amazing 12 months. And I've always respected activists, even since I was younger. And I never thought or dreamed or imagined that I'd become one myself. And you know what? It's one of the most positive, uplifting, gratifying thing that I've probably ever done in my life, to actually just get down to the root and to connect with people properly, do you know what I mean, on a one-to-one level, just like we're doing now, and having an organic conversation. We're just here, you know, as Vic said, we're all from different viewpoints, but we're having an organic conversation. We originally started with flat Earth, and now we've come back to it again. But you know, look what we spoke about tonight. But activism again is the way forward, I believe, no matter what you believe.
I just want to add to that, because when people say activists, you think of protesters, you think of in your face, rah, 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 rah. That's not what we're about. What we do is we literally go to a different place, wherever, and we literally stand there and we put some information up, which is our banners, which is our information of what we've come to find out that fits with reality rather than what we've been told. Well, obviously, we're questioning our reality, so we've got these questions and they've not fit with the reality. So we've put our evidence of what we've found out up there, and we just stand there and we've got leaflets and we wait for people to come to us. And if they come to us, then we tell and ask us questions, we answer them. So we're not like saying, this is us, you need to believe this is our belief, this is us. We're going, this is what we found out, and we're here, we're stood here. If you want to come and ask us, we'll welcome questions. And I think that's a better way of approach than any type of protesting. To me, is what the system give us
exactly.
to have a little.
They give us rubber. They give us rubber tools to fight them. They train us how to fight them.
Exactly. And I find people in general are more responsive to. At the end of the day, if you go up to someone and try and ask them questions, because I've tried activism a different way. Me and Tom, we went to Crosby Beach and we tried to approach people and said, "Do you mind us asking questions?" And they're all like, they look at you like you've got 3 heads just because you've asked them. Can you ask them a question? But when you're standing there with some information and then they come over, they wander over because they're looking at, you know, the pictures and stuff like that. And then they're reading it and then they go. And then I just say to them, they're standing by and they're looking at it, I say, what do you think? And literally ask that one question, what do you think? And then they'll say, oh, well, either I don't know or, well, oh, I think it's rubbish, and they give you their opinion. And they've come into your space. Rather than you going into their space and being on the attack, they come into your space. They're more receptive to hear. Not everybody, don't get me wrong. Some people jump in and they straight away like going, no, it's not that. And they cite the pseudoscience the hell out of us. And then we're like, well, actually, you know, that bit, what you're saying is a really good theory, but it's not provable. We're trying to stick to the facts. And this is what I stick to. The make and model, we don't know. Obviously, there's somewhat what I can say, oh, I think that feels like that, but that's still a belief. At the end of the day, for myself, it measures flat. There's no spin. And that's from my observations, my own personal. So it's first-hand from myself information, what I'm giving out, right? And then you basically collaborate that with other people who are doing the same thing and they're getting the same situations, like we said. Or like you said yourself, you come across flat Earth and you was getting onto it because some of the things were measuring up, right, what they were saying, but then they put you off, like you said, because there's all these disinfo agents out there and the very dubious sources, and that's the trouble. And I get why you put off. I get why you put off, because that's being not just trusting. You can't just trust, because we've trusted all our lives and we've been fed bullshit and lies.
Yeah,
we've got to trust ourselves and our senses. But then when we trust ourselves and our senses, and there's other people coming to the same agreement, they come to the same similarities as us, then we can say, well, do you know what, I got this result, and then they're saying I got the same result, and they're like, wow.
Yeah, so but talking about measurements, okay. Talking about measurements again, right? One of our friends, Patrick, Dave Marsh is called, he's just busted apart Kepler's law as well, like busted it wide open by monitoring and tracking the moon, its speed and trajectory and everything over 12 months. He's devoted his whole time to tracking and observing the moon. That's his specialist field in flat Earth, and he's busted apart Kepler's law. It's fucking amazing.
I'm bad with that stuff, the motion of the planets and orbits. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And I'm not really like scientific or mathematical anymore, sort of like philosophical approach to things. I'm a layman, right? So
I get you, but again, this is what we're trying to say. This is another theory that's been, this is a theory that's been busted wide open, that's been regarded within the scientific community.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me though, like, to understand the debunking of something I don't even understand in the first place. Though, but I get what you're saying, and I would like to say I feel like you guys are genuine, and we definitely probably agree way more than we disagree, right? And I really appreciate you guys letting me come on and spew out my information and stuff. And like, unfortunately, I have run into people in the flat Earth community, and I know you guys aren't like this, but I think it's a really bad mentality to not like someone because they're a sphere earther. And I've run into people like that don't give me a chance or think I'm a bad person because I believe in a sphere. And that's not being very open-minded. I think some of these people that they're so convinced they're open-minded, they're not even open to the possibility they might not be open-minded, right? And you got to be open to all possibilities, I think. And yeah,
But I think when it comes to the sphere, though, I think we've been open-minded about it for far too long. I think, look, we're 500 years later now than when heliocentrism was introduced. Do you know what I mean? It's like the scientific community now need to pull the plug out of the backside, right, and get up and start doing some more recent experiments. They need to start doing new experiments, because it's all just it's all bullshit. It's like, don't get me wrong, we're not against science. You know, there is true science and we understand that. But all of this bullshit, when they make everything so far out away from us, like billions of light years away, yet you can get a Nikon P900 camera and bring it straight back into view. You can't focus on something that far away. You know what I mean? It's like, it's these little observations that are starting to make people think more about what we've been told. That's what it's about.
Can I interject now?
Yeah.
That's an amazing point, Leslie. For me personally, I've found that what you said as well, Patrick, is that people jump on board with whatever truth, whether it's flat Earth or whatever, and then they get completely restricted in their own truth, and then they get, even though they're preaching cognitive dissonance, they're doing it to themselves as well. Right. So. And it goes anyway. Cognitive dissonance isn't just a flat Earth thing, because we do spout that a lot. Like, oh, you've got cognitive dissonance. Yeah, they have. But if you're not open to everything, then you've got cognitive dissonance. The thing what I like to go back to with the flat Earth thing is you've got to do it for yourself. So you've got to not only take on board, forget about who's saying what, forget about that, because obviously there's shills and there's disinfo agents and there's this and the other, there's agendas, there's all this bullshit, and like you said, there's Freemasons coming out with it as well. But they do sometimes, the mainstream and the powers that be give us truth mixed in bullshit as well. So just because they've given us some truth doesn't mean that it's not true because they're a bad person. It just means that they're mixing it in with bullshit to make it look like it's bullshit as well. So they can do that as well. But So what we've got to do then is take our own observations, our own senses, our own experiments, and we go out and we take their information, what they give us. So it's not even about proving it's flat. And this is this guy called Chris UK. He's come up with these really, really good ideas. So he's basically disproved the spin. So listen to this for an instance. So what with a spinning globe, right? So you've got your globe and it spins on its axis 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, right? So anything that's spinning, a ball shape that's spinning. So if you go further up the ball or further under the ball, them bits are not spinning as fast as the biggest point, which is the equator, isn't it? They anything that's spinning, the biggest point is spinning the fastest to get round. Can you get that?
Yeah.
So further up and further under, you've got the spin is less. So say you've got your equator that's spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, it's slightly over, but say 1,000 just for demonstration purposes. And then a bit further up, you can say like 750, a bit further up, it's spinning at 500 miles per hour, a bit further up, it's 250, whatever. So then you take the sun going past in the sky. So whether you want to say it's 93 million miles away or whether you want to say it's small and local, right? It travels past us in the sky. Whatever we want to say, it looks like it goes across the sky, doesn't it? No matter what, it looks like it goes across the sky. Every day it goes across the sky. The only time we don't see it is obviously nighttime and when we've got a massive thick blanket of cloud that we can't see the bloody sun. But when we can see the sun, it goes across the sky, right? So you're on the equator and you're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, and then say your mate is at the point of the Earth where it's spinning at say 500 miles per hour. So there's a 500 miles difference in spin. That guy should see the sun move across the sky slower. You on the equator should see the sun move across the sky faster. You should see this. We should actually observe this, but we do not. The sun travels at the exact same speed wherever you are on our Earth. Now we can do experiments to prove this, but for now we can just judge with our own senses that people have not said, oh yeah, I have a very, very long day, my day lasts twice as long as the ones on the equation. No, we get a day and like roughly apart from obviously we get certain seasons give us more light than the other, but in general we get like a 12-hour day, 12-hour night, and then we get excesses and whatever because of the seasons. But the sun is traveling at the same speed. So he said, if you look at, for a very small example, you get a roundabout. Now, you put a camera on the top of that roundabout. So one camera on the top of the roundabout, so a camcorder camera. And then you put one on the outset of the roundabout. You know, a child's roundabout, do you know what I mean? Yep. On a playground. Patrick, do you know what I'm on about? Yeah. So you put a camera on the outside. So basically the outside is the equivalent to the equator. So you put that camera on there, and the inside is somewhere up the globe because it's not got
North Pole.
Yeah, well you can say it's on the North Pole. Yeah. So that if you imagine that camera, you turn them both on, the one, and you spin the roundabout. So the roundabout is going at the same time, but obviously the cameras are turning. So the one in the middle is going to turn slower. We know this. Even though I've never done this experiment myself, I know that camera, the visuals of that will be slower. The ones on the outskirts, because it's traveling, it's having to do the longer distance at the same speed, at the same quickness. It's actually it'll go whiz by. It'll whiz by. So that in itself is showing that something on some on the outskirts of a ball, which is the equator, is going to go faster. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm presenting that correctly.
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that's correct because the Earth is a sphere. It rotates at different speeds measured in distance per unit time because it can only rotate at the same angular change per unit time. Hours, like degrees, are a unit of angular distance. Miles and kilometers are measured of linear distance.
Yeah, I get that. But let's go back to the sun then. Go back to the sun then.
Right.
The sun should move at different speeds then across the sky, depending on where you are on Earth.
At all latitudes, the sun appears to move through 15 degrees per hour, but at the equator, that 15 degrees takes up 1,000 miles of landscape, whereas at the poles, it's on a spot of ice. So it's always going 15 degrees per hour, but during certain points of the Earth, that's more space. So
right, okay,
it's always moving the
I
same.
can't argue with you. I can't argue with you what you're saying there. But what I can say is, I feel that I think we need. Yeah, you can. Just let me just finish what I'm saying, and then you can.
I was going to lose it. It's about that exact thing that you just said there. You know, in the chat you said about the Antarctic getting 24 hours of sunlight. Have you witnessed that with your own eyes?
I was going to say that.
No, I've just seen a video.
That's what I mean, exactly, right? So you can't, that's secondhand information. You've just based your full belief on the heliocentric model on secondhand information, bro.
Because it is secondhand.
With me, though, at the end of the day, we need to do these experiments. We need to seriously do these experiments. I think that there's enough of us now internationally that should get together. Like, at the end of the day, we're all decent people. Like, you know, yeah, you're not convinced about the flat Earth, and I know from my experiments that I know it's flat. It measures flat and motionless, and I want to show you how flat and motionless it is, so that you say, do you know what, Vic? It's flat and motionless. Fuck this. They've actually conned us, because these people who are telling us that it's a ball are dubious anyway. They're all Masonic elites, and I totally get it now. That's what I want you to say eventually. But you've got to do it because you've done your own research, and you've got to do it because you've done it for yourself, and you're not listening to just me. You know, you can't be saying, "Oh, well, I've listened to Vic and she's told me this." You have to do it because you've gone out. Patrick's gone out on his own, and he's measured. They've told you, Patrick, that you should not be seeing that building that's 50 miles out. You should not be seeing it 50 miles out. From a beach, right? Say, okay, let's say some land, or say a lighthouse or whatever, out to sea, 50 miles away, should be beyond, going off the curvature chart, should be beyond 1,660 odd foot of curvature. But like, you go to a beach, wherever you are, or wherever you can find some distance, without anything interrupting it, you need to go out and do your own experiments, and you need to see that you can still see that bloody thing, because they're giving you them measurements and it doesn't work out. So that's one thing.
I will agree. I do agree that the arguments for a globe are not the best. But for me personally, I feel like I have gone. Okay, before I got to the flat Earth, I couldn't really justify why I live on a sphere. I just believed it because someone told me it. Totally true. But I feel like I've done the research myself now, to the point where I can say that I'm pretty confident it's a sphere. And yeah, a lot of the information is secondhand, but I would argue that if I were to rely on, if I could only like talk about things that I had firsthand knowledge of, I'd just be sitting here talking about poker. You know? I
get that.
What would I talk about then? You know,
I get that, and I totally get what you're saying, but what you've got to do now is, because I think what's happened with you is you've got put off by, the nonsense what's involved in it, right? So forget about the nonsense and just go off your own bloody experiences.
Can I just
say sorry, just let me finish this, and then I'll shut up. Just say you didn't know anything what you was taught now, anything at all. Would you go out and would you say you was spinning? Would you?
No, I wouldn't.
So, and then you then could go out, and then you could take a zoom lens, a telescope or whatever, and you can see a far distance until your visual perspective converges and you can't see any further, which happens. So, and then you get told that there's a curvature and you can still see past it. Would you agree with somebody who just comes up and says, no, there's a curvature, but you go, I can see past it, and they go, but it's there because I've seen some images from something, and you go, well, actually I can see past it. You wouldn't believe that person. But the trouble is, we was told from a very young age very young age that it is a ball. Now, do you know why I think they told us this?
Why is that?
And it's the why to me is that they've got these people in charge, the Masonic elites, which I know you're on board with. They're the ones who put into a ball. When you go back and you look at when it happened, you got Copernicus decided that it was a ball and he put that out there. No, he didn't even have gravity then, so it didn't even work at first, because without gravity the ball did not work, because it couldn't it couldn't stick vast oceans to a spinning mass. It just couldn't do it. So then we had to come up with some other idea, and then gravity was invented. So prior to that, he come up with this ball reason. Why did he do that? The reason was, this is my theory, I can't prove this, but at that same time, Columbus was doing expeditions around Earth. He was finding outer lands, and he had to go via the Vatican. He was getting stopped, and all sorts of bullshit was going on when you start looking into the true things about what Columbus had to go through. And he basically was finding outer lands, and all of a sudden they told us we was living on this spinning ball Earth, and there was nothing left to see. And then we had to agree that we've seen it all, and we have to look out to space. But then someone came along and said, well, how do they stick the oceans to these spinning balls hurtling through space? So then who come up with gravity? Newton. Newton says, oh, well, apple fell on my head, and gravity exists, and we're all being pulled to the center of this mass. Rather than thinking that prior to that, which is what we had, which was density, that things fall because they're heavier than air, they're denser than air, and things that rise are lighter than air. That all became into the conclusion of gravity. And what they do, these Masonic elites, which is in everything, is they mix a bit of truth with a load of bullshit, and they wrap it up and they parcel it off and they put a pretty bow on it, and they give us gravity. And so they have the magical components of gravity, and then they also have the realistic ones, which we can all agree on, which is density, buoyancy, and electromagnetism. And they all are in the same components of the gravity thing. So that's where people are like, yeah, well, gravity exists. Well, yeah, components of what they now call gravity exist, but they did already. But the rest of it don't make sense. The spinning, sticking to a spinning ball, vast oceans don't exist. And the one massive thing for me, forget about the spin, is that all water finds its level. And apparently this globe is meant to be 70% water, so it's still a fucking funny shaped ball. And then NASA shows us, yeah, and then NASA shows us a perfectly spherical Earth, which I think we could all agree that NASA's dubious, but they're saying that this is true. This is a photograph from space, and we're like, it's an image, and then they have to put image on it because, like, yes, it is an image, because really we've actually photoshopped in it. It's all bullshit. And then they have to pretend, they have to keep this lie up because it's all about money and control, money, control, and power. And I think we can agree with that. The whole system is about money, control, and power to keep us enslaved. And where do you put your slaves? You keep them in a prison-type system. You don't let them roam freely. You might let them roam freely within that prison-type system, but what better place to put your slaves? In a ball Earth that you've not got extra land, you've not got places to go because it's all been done. And even when you try to go out, when you think you might be able to go elsewhere, you've got the Antarctic Treaty. Now, that got put in place when Admiral Byrd went looking at the outsides and what have you. And then the Antarctic Treaty, which was the UN, formed. And then we couldn't...
Then NASA was formed around about the same time. NASA got
formed to then... carry on with this illusion, and then after that, you have all these different descriptions like light years and all this, and then you got Star Wars, and you got these zippy lights going. This is what a light year looks like, because no one could fucking understand what a light year was until they showed us. It means zipping through space like that with these zippy lines what go past. you know what I mean? And once you can visualize something, it becomes true, because that's all it is. It's making it a visual in your head. And this is what they do. And at the end of the day, no matter what, whether you agree with me, whether you don't, I'd ask you to not agree. I'd ask you to go and test for yourself. Any of you listening, don't agree with me, because that's just listening to another person. Go and test for yourself. These people have programmed us to think the way they want to think, and they do give us truth in amongst the bullshit, but that's part of the consent, because they have to have our consent. So they have to throw the truth out there, and if we carry on doing, then they've got our consent. And I do believe in this creator thing, and I have a visualization now of the God or whatever power that be above, you know, the one that created us, says you can only get away with doing what you're doing if everyone agrees to it. So they go back to God every day, and they go, look, they've agreed. Look, we've told them, they've signed the contracts, that we've showed them the truth, and they're laughing at us. They're telling God that they've showed us the truth, and they've also mixed it with bullshit, and none of us know what's actually happening. But do you know what I mean? That's just a bit rough, but yeah. Brilliant. Anyway.
Cheers, Vic. No, but you've made some extreme. No, you have, Vic. You've made a lot, but extremely valid points there. No, but seriously, you have, babe. And I can't really touch on individual ones because
I've got too many again. Too many.
But no, seriously, it was great, hon, and it was really heartfelt as well. But just to ask Patrick, because we're gonna have to wrap up soon as well, guys, about 11. But you can carry on. I'm going to be going at 11 anyway. But but I was going to say, so Patrick, how much research have you actually done on flat Earth? Have you gone through the history of the conception through to what Vic's just touched on, you know, all of these big key points and everything that's actually slotted in? Because as critical thinkers and as, in inverted commas, conspiracy theorists, right, we are known for joining the dots and connecting the dots to create a bigger picture. So what do you feel about that? And how researched are you on flat Earth?
I mean, I think I'm very researched. I've watched a lot of videos. I've talked to a lot of people on Hangouts and in Discord and tried to ask flat earthers, like, hey, what's your best evidence and stuff? And for me, the evidence I've gotten isn't good, satisfactory to me to believe it's flat. Like the thing about water always finding its level, like I think water is formless and shapeless. So I just think it's a bad argument to use water to argue a shape of something because it has no shape. Roxanne talked about gravity. That's another issue I have. If gravity works as we know it, flat Earth couldn't work, right? So flat earthers say things.
Let me explain that.
Go on. You jump in. Yeah.
Flat earthers say, like I've seen flat Earth videos where they say the Cavendish experiment was only performed one time in history and they haven't been able to replicate it and stuff. And when I tried to verify that, I found that wasn't true, right? And I'm like, well, if you got all this, if the flat Earth is true, why do you have to make up a lie about the Cavendish experiment? In my opinion, like that is a big strike against the flat Earth side. I don't know. I haven't done. I guess.
Can I just say about that gravity bit, mate? Right. If gravity is keeping the water spread out equally around the ball at all times, then floods are impossible. Literally, you cannot have a build-up of water in one area if gravity is keeping water conforming evenly to the ball. Yeah, can you understand that?
Really good point, that Tom. That is a really good point.
Floods debunk gravity and the ball completely. Floods alone. This is what I'm saying. The natural physics of water is the proof. It is the only proof, the only solid actual proof that flat earthers have. Yeah, we do have obviously no measurable curvature. Yeah, but we haven't got like the technology to measure thousands of miles and that. So do you know what I mean? The actual solid proof that we have is water and how it behaves. Yeah, and it completely destroys gravity and this spinning space ball dream that they've implanted in our minds.
Can I interject there? Right. The thing with the measurements is we can disprove the measurements on a lower level because they give us these measurements. They've supposedly been to space. They have supposedly seen that the Earth is this. They've done the trigonometry. They've done the mathematics, and it measures at 25,000 miles circumference, this ball Earth. Now, I'm saying to you is then that has got a curvature. If you're on a ball has a curvature. So yeah, the water does, at the end of the day, I know what you're saying, but if you fill a bath up, right? Now when you're turn the taps and the water's coming in, cascading in like a waterfall effect, you get ripples, don't you? Because there's some motion going into that, there's some force going into that. Once you turn your taps off and you've let it stay still, that lies flat. It always finds its level. Now you can literally do that. Have you seen that where you've got lots of different vessels, see-through vessels, and they're all tilted, and then you put liquids in them? It doesn't matter how high the liquid, they will always go straight across, and you can get like what's it called? One of them what they call them? Oh God, you know the plumb things, what builders, spirit levels. You can get a spirit level and see that it will find its level. It always finds its level. Water, unless it is not being contained, it'll flow away. So this is how, with the flat earth, we know it's contained. The oceans are contained because they wouldn't exist. They would have flown away. So this nonsense about cascading waters over the edge is nonsense. We don't know. The edge, to me, is as far as we can go. And as far as we can go is say Antarctica, because they're the only visuals that we've got from so-called photographs. But I've never been to Antarctica, so I don't know what's beyond it. I'm not saying there is a beyond, I'm not saying there isn't, I'm saying there could be. But as far as where I'm aware, I've seen some visuals of some form of ice wall, which makes sense to me that there has to be something that contains the oceans, what at least are our seas. Because I've been to the beach, I've been to different countries, and there's been water around them, so I know there's seas. Do you know what I mean? It starts going down to stupid levels where you're like, you know, I know there's seas, but we don't know the size of the countries anymore, because nothing matches up to what we're being told. Now, this ball earth, what we've been given, has been given us by liars. So yeah, I get that you've got to question what we're saying, but you've also got to question what they're saying. And I think that's the massive point, because not just jump on straight on board to what we're saying. And I know you was getting there in some ways. But when you find out that your sources of all the sources of where this globe earth comes from, you said you were against the Freemasons, mate. They're all Freemasonic elites, the elites of the 33 degree or high up. Do you know what I mean? The higher echelons of the Masons, of the Freemasonic stuff, and they're all in the club, and they're the ones who've given us this ball earth. So I'm sorry, but all the other information, yeah, there might be someone who's got some Masonic past or whatever, and he's saying something that sounds true. They still give us truth, but they're the ones who have pushed this ball earth theory and this CIA nonsense.
Can I just say, yeah, P. Mars just got a shout out. Is like, P. Mars is Socrates reincarnated. Yeah, man. Honestly, it's been a pleasure, man. Honestly, I just gave you a bit of love in the comments as well, man. I love both of you for coming on tonight. Like, Brooke, big respect to you.
And you, Patrick, Brooke and Patrick, thank you so much, because at the end of the day, like, we've all got our opinions, but I think we've got a common factor, and the common factor is the liars. The liars, whether you believe in some lie or the other, we know that they're lying to us on so many other levels. Do you know what I mean? And that's something what we can all come together. And I think we're all like decent human beings just from how we've spoke. I don't know, you could be some murderer, I don't know, but you don't seem like a murderer. To me, you seem like a decent human being who's done some research, done a lot of research, and you're a critical thinker, and you're not just taking what you told us true, but you've got to also look at who's telling us these things, and the mainstream are pushing this. Look at how much we are being pushed the globe. Every single channel, every single bloody movie you watch, you've got a spinning ball.
Yeah, we're often told, yeah, that the truth is often opposite to what we're told, yeah? Literally the exact opposite. Yeah. So what is the opposite to a flying, spinning space ball?
A flat motion.
A flat stationary Earth.
Do you know what I mean? It's that in your face, mate. Do you know what I mean? The truth's
everything's inverted.
The truth's that close to our eyes. We look straight through it often enough, mate. Honestly, and I know, like, you're talking about Freemasons and how they're pushing it out there. I don't think they're pushing it out there, mate. I think it's being forced out here by the creator himself or itself. I don't like to say him because it's biblical, yeah. But like, you look at their favorite emblem, yeah. It's got a chessboard, yeah, right. We're living on the chessboard, yeah. And then there's these globes on pillars there to distract us, yeah. The boas and jashin, these globes on pillars, yeah. They're to distract us. They're on pillars because they're on display to catch attention. But we're living on the chessboard, mate. And they're honestly, go look on their favorite emblem now. It's all there. The sun and the moon inside of like a firmament. It's too in your face, mate. It's real as fuck, bro.
They know what's what. I'm not saying Freemasons as a whole know everything, because like going back to what Brooke said before, there's levels, and I think it's a need to know basis. So you then might you get to the first level, so you do that, and people might screenshot that and go, oh, I'm throwing out Masonic thing, but I'm actually talking about that actual thing. So if anyone starts using that against me, I'm trying to explain something. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Let me just say. So they do the first level, and I reckon the first level is that you want to you get involved because you want to do charitable things for your society, right? And I think that's fucking boss, right? And you think, oh yeah, I can be in the wink wink nudge nudge club, and then they might do a little favour for me. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think that a lot of them get involved thinking the way that we know what they are, right? I think they know that what? Sorry.
I was just doing the Monty Python joke. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Wink,
yeah. So basically, like they get involved because they're trying to do good. And I don't think anyone on the lower echelons are doing any harm, right? But to progress, you have to go to the next level. And I'm not saying even the lower echelons, even progressing up, are still doing any harm. Once you get to a certain level, you move up to a different, to progress, you have to get the next bit of knowledge, you have to do something else that's not conducive to being a human being. And once you start going on that ladder, then you start selling your soul. So I'm not even saying that all Freemasons have sold the soul. I'm saying that you've got choices in life. Even if you've signed up to a gang, because it's like a gang. It's like gangs. It's like instead of what's up, it's like oh, it's all hoity-toity. But it's still a
just say gang. The higher up they go. You're right, Vic. The higher up you go on that pyramid structure, the more riskier it gets. Right, and as you rightfully said, the more you have got a risk of losing and selling yourself out and selling yourself.
You've got every step of the way. You've got choices. We've got this is what our Creator gives us. It gives us choices. We've got.
But we're making the wrong choices. That's why, because we're so fucking brainwashed into making the wrong choices.
People don't, as well though, Les. People don't realise they've got choices. So like this society, like. You have to pay taxes. You have to do this. Actually, do you have to? Do you have to? If you buy something and it's got tax on it, then yeah, you have to in that respect. But you have to buy it. Can't you get it from something else? Can't you actually trade with someone? We don't think like that. We don't think that we've got choices. And when you start realizing that, once you see the Matrix for what it is, that's what I think. We've got to wake everyone up to the Matrix, because the Matrix is where once you can see it, you've got your choices back. Once you've got your choices, you've actually got your freedom back. And this is what I'm like. I think our reality of what we've been put in is this globe, right? We've been put in this globe. That's the reality of it. But all the lies are inside this globe. And once you can wake up to the whole shebang, you can see it all for what it is. And you've got complete choices. And I'm not averse to anyone saying there's something else there, but there's the only one fact I can go off is that it measures flat and there's no spin. So that's not a spinning ball, mate. It's not a spinning ball. But you've got to do that for yourself and not take my word for it.
No, absolutely. But what I was going to say then, guys, I don't know about you, but it's 11 o'clock. Should we start to wrap this up now?
We're all right, Les. If you want to get off, though, like, you can, love.
No, that's fine. No, not at all. I'm going to get off now then. I just thought, because normally it goes on for about 3.5 hours. I didn't realise there was, like, no time limit. But that's fine. I'm going off anyways, guys. But it has been an absolute pleasure. So thank you very, very much for inviting me.
Oh, no, it's been awesome, Les. Thank you for coming on. I know that Rox would be saying thank you as well, but I think she's on another one. She might be even live on another one.
She is at the moment, yeah. But yeah, thanks again, guys. And Patrick, it's been a pleasure to meet you, mate. So thanks very much for your input in this as well.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you guys.
All right, see you guys. Right, good night, mate. Good night.
Good night, Les. Yeah, I just want to carry this on. If you're all right, are you all right for time, Patrick?
I was thinking I was gonna probably take off too. But
yeah, man.
I think it's a good time to end. But yeah, I could say I could agree. I posted a quote from Bertrand Russell, and this is like an example of the type of research I'm into or whatever. And like the elites, Bertrand Russell was a lord, and he wrote these books, The Scientific Outlook and the Impact of Science on Society, where he talked about the scientific dictatorship and how these scientific rulers would control us, manipulate us, indoctrinate us. This is all openly discussed. You don't have to go into conspiracy land. You can go to the horse's mouth and they'll admit it. But I put this quote there in the Hangout if you guys want to check out. But he talks about what you're saying.
Definitely do it.
He talks about what you were saying about how he openly says that if a member of the slave class becomes intelligent enough as the ruling class, then the rulers will test him to see if he will abandon the slaves and join the rulers. And if he won't, if he shows solidarity to the slaves and tries to help the slaves, they will put him down. He says they'll send him to the lethal chamber. They say this, and that's what I think we see people. I think Bruce Lee is someone who is trying to make people aware of like class warfare and empower people and make people knowledgeable. I think they put him down. I think Bruce Lee would have lived. John Lennon, Michael Crichton, actually, believe it or not, Michael Crichton, the author of Jurassic Park, he wrote a book called State of Fear when he was blasting global warming, calling that a lie. And he was going around giving lectures, and he was winning these debates for people he was telling people that global warming was a hoax. And then he suddenly got fast-acting cancer and died, convenient for the elite. So I think this is a real thing. Like,
it's definitely real, mate. Honestly, I'm not trying to big myself up, bro. But I've been through 3 Facebook accounts, in 2 years. They shut me down. They don't give me any reason why. They just say violating terms and conditions, They do not want. I'm getting Lad Bible views on my posts and shit, and I'm not paying for it, They don't want me getting to the masses. I've got like a way with words. I'm young. Do you know what I mean? They don't want it. Do you know what I mean? They are trying to shut me down. So what you just said then resonated with me, But I'm not gonna let it scare me, bro. Fuck that. Do you know what I mean? Like people, that's what they've got. Their only tool is fear, And I'm not fucking scared anymore. I'm angry. I'm angry at them, And I'm fucking. I've got love for humanity, Big love for humanity, because we're being oppressed. We're not progressing as a species. We're fucking being oppressed, and I don't like it, mate.
The progression is for them to get the more money and more, more wealth. It's not progression of society. It's not progression of humankind. And what you said there was awesome words. Do you know what I mean, Patrick? And you know what? I'm trying to get my computer set up so I can do these, because obviously we've had to go via Roxanne's channel. And thank you so much, Roxanne.
Much love, Rox, honestly.
I know that you're busy at the minute, but I was going to actually say, if you're getting off, fair enough. I don't know if anybody else in the chat room is wanting to carry on for a little bit longer. Not going to do much longer, but if anyone else wants to,
I just want to jump in. Ask Patrick. When you was on about doing a blog about the leadership, you mentioned it earlier. Will you be going live on like you would be doing an open discussion about that, or what? Like, because it'd be really interesting. I'm up for getting involved in other discussions about other things, not just flat Earth. Like, obviously, I am a flat earther. I will admit that. I know the Earth is flat myself. I don't believe it. I know it. I can feel it with every fibre of my being. I don't live on a spinning ball. But I'm open for discussing about everything else as well, mate. So I'd like to get involved in other things like that. discussions.
Yeah, I would say, I actually did a hangout where I watched some lectures where people talked about attributes of a good leader, and I did a hangout and I tried to inform people what I learned. And I think that's important. Like, I think they're trying to get rid of leaders. They don't want leaders. They want us all to be followers. So we got to do things. They want us to break apart the family unit is another thing, right? So we got to keep our family unit strong. We got to everything they're attacking, we need to fight back and do the opposite of what they're trying to do to change us. So
you know what you said there about leaders, Patrick, right? To me, it's not, I don't want to be led by anybody, but I also, let me just say this. We all need to
be leaders.
Let me just say.
We all need to be leaders.
No, I agree with her. I don't like being a leader because I hate authority. I'm sort of an anarchist.
This way, right? I want to say this way, and he didn't let me
be leaders of our own reality, but obviously work together because we affect other people's reality as well. Do you know what I mean? So you got to be a respectful leader.
You won't let me speak, Willie. Right? All I'm trying to say is, we don't need leaders as such because we're being led astray, but I think we need to lead by example. So we know what we do ourselves is right. So we do our own thing. Yeah, that's the empowerment and that's the you're carrying on. But people are followers in general. But if you've got choices and you can see a better way, won't people follow a better way? Not that you're being the leader and you're saying, come and follow me. You're just doing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally agree what he said.
I agree with that lead by example. I like that idea of leading by example, and that's why, like a year ago, I was really overweight and unhealthy, and I whipped myself into shape. And then, like, people started asking me, "Hey, how'd you do that? What'd you do?" So I led by example. I did it myself. I got myself in shape, and then other people asked me, "Oh, how did you do that?" And I got that's how you. That's a good way of leadership.
Exactly.
It's not that you say, "Oh, I'm the leader of you."
Being fat and drinking beer and being like, hey, y'all should exercise and eat right? And I'm not doing it myself. I can't be it. No one's going to listen to me. So.
It's literally, it's not the case of standing there and saying, I'm the leader, I know the way, you follow me. It's not about that. It's about, right, I think this feels right. I'm going to go this way. And then
I agree.
And people see you doing it and they go, wow, that way looks right. And then they go, oh, I'm going to go that way.
Like,
and that's literally it.
I always tell people to get off drugs. Like, I think they want us on drugs, pharmaceuticals, street drugs. I used to think marijuana was a good thing, but I've kind of changed my mind on that now. I think they maybe sort of use it to make us docile. Because I don't know. I've noticed when I don't smoke.
We're meant to consume it. We're meant to eat it, mate. Smoking it, I completely agree. It's been put there for a reason. We're not meant to smoke anything. We're meant to eat things, to consume. That's how we got a mouth.
I can see, like, using... I mean, it's definitely a good medicine, but, like,
it's a medicine. We're using it as a drug. It's actually a medicine.
It's like
we're using it to drown us. Sorry, go on, Patrick.
But yeah, like, I know for myself, like, I've abused marijuana, but then I tell people don't to do drugs. But, like, we're being brainwashed, definitely. Like, movies, all the rap people are like, hey, smoke weed, have sex, pass the girl around to your friends. Like, we're getting bad messages. We need to be morals. we need to be moral. We need to be good to each other. We need to get off the drugs. We need to get healthy. Get out there. And
well, the thing with the cannabis thing, right? For me, I think it's in moderation, right? And I think that we've got cannabinoid receptors in our bodies. We would not have cannabinoid receptors in our bodies if we weren't supposed to ingest it, right? And I think smoking stuff. Don't get me wrong, I smoke like a chimney. I smoke tobacco. And so
this weed is the weed they have now is different from, like, natural weed, like they genetically modified it.
Definitely.
Really there's only two original strains of weed. That's back in the day. There was only 2 original strains of weed, and everything else is a GMO mutation from them.
I think the government got into that,
and then once now it's all hash.
Yeah, and now that it's all GMO, they're going to legalize it, right?
Yeah, they made a thing called skunk. I think it was skunk #1. That was the first strain they made from the original 2 strains. Yeah, and that was it. Every other single weed from there is a complete genetically modified strain.
But saying that you can do as near as you can to organic. Obviously, it's not the original strain, but if you go for the organic and using it medicinal, and not just because our lives are so shit and I just want to get out of my box and just not know what's happening. That's the trouble. People just want to be off it because they want to get off it because being on it and knowing what's happening is not good. So they want to get and once you're like then you're like you don't care anymore because you're just happy in your own self for a few moments.
You can use it to avoid it. You can use it to escape reality, and like people don't want to deal with the reality that we're enslaved.
You can't blame people for doing that because our reality is so shit. So maybe like we need to change our realities, don't we? Because maybe use it to why you're changing your reality. And once you change your reality, you probably won't even want to. You'll be like, wow, my life's so good. I'm so happy now that I won't even need to. And then like you might just use it as just, I don't know, just as like a bit of a timeout, or just you know, like we might have a drink or something like the same equivalent rather than every day or whatever. I don't know, but all I know is we've got cannabinoid receptors in our bodies. We would not have them if there was not.
Listen, that's what I was saying there. We're not meant to smoke it. Yeah, I smoke weed, but I'm addicted to smoking. I'd rather consume it, but it's so costly. Do you know what I mean? Because I can't grow it myself. I'd love to eat it because I'd eat it all day long. I reckon I'd just survive off weed. It'd be amazing. Yeah, but smoking it, I don't like smoking. I'm addicted to smoking, and I don't get any pleasure off smoking. I get the pleasure off the weed, the stone, the high. Yeah,
it's not my actual thing. It's not my thing. Don't get me wrong. I've tried it in my time.
I've smoked it more than half my life.
I haven't, and I've tried it occasionally. And when I have tried it, and I've only had a couple of puffs occasionally, and it's just been too much. I've been like, oh, it's like when you first get drunk and you're spinning like sideways. Oh, he calls it definite. I'm like, oh no, it's not my thing personally. But I totally get the medicinal factors in it, and I get why people do it because our society, like I said, we're abused, we're used, abused, and the rest of it. And I think, in general, if you compare it to alcohol, it's a much better drug to do than alcohol.
It is.
So if you're going to level it out, and prescription medication, do you know what I mean? Like prescription medication.
Alcohol might be worse than it's probably worse than heroin actually. So
it's a soul destroyer, isn't it?
And prescription medication as well. I would say, like, you know, the painkillers like I don't want to go too deep in stuff because I don't know who's watching, and I have like a bit of a stalker at the minute, so I don't want to go into that. Don't even ask.
I do gotta take off, guys. So I'd like to say, you know, thanks.
No worries, mate. No worries. Thank you so much.
My channel is P Space Mars. I'll be doing on a strike right now, but in July I'll start doing hangouts, and I talk about movies, indoctrination, propaganda, and conspiracies. So just not flat Earth so much, but all the other stuff. So, anyways, thanks, guys.
I just want to say, before you get off, right, I want to just say one last thing. Obviously, thank you for being on as well. But I want to give you I don't know if you're on Facebook or anything, but you know what? If you're ever free and you just want to chat, and I'm not about like online live and shit, just like give us a bell. Do you know what I mean? Like, this has been awesome. I've really enjoyed speaking to you. So if you want to speak at any time, you know, get in touch, because like I'm Victoria Rose on Facebook. You might have to put Liverpool into it, but I can give you my phone number. Do you know what I mean? I'm well up for that. Like, man, you're on our level. We might not agree on certain things, but that's healthy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, can you put the link to that thing? You know, that quote that you said. Can you put that in the in the comments as well before you go, mate? Well, when you go.
Yeah, I'll put I put the
nice one. So I want to read into that, like say it's from the horse's mouth. So
right, that's what I like to do, because I like to go and talk to these mainstream atheists, skeptics who don't believe any conspiracy is real, and I'm like, yo, check out this book. Yo, check out this book, and then they're just like, they don't know what to do, man.
The thing about atheism, yeah, they have faith that the creator isn't real. There's no solid evidence that the creator doesn't exist. You know what I mean? So what's the difference between, because they're like, oh, you have faith and all this. They've still got faith. Do you know what I mean? So it's proper oxymoron, hypocritical shit.
Yeah, definitely. I like to say about, you know, the Big Bang. I like to say, well, hang on a minute. So nothing evolved. Sorry, everything evolved from nothing. It's still a creation thing. At the end of the day, it's still creation. Either created by a being or it created itself. It was still creation. Creation happens.
That's what I mean. Like, and I always say to him, I'm like, if evolution was a being, then I'd understand how it designed the human brain. Yeah, because how can evolution is a process, yeah? So how can a process design things as intricate as the human brain, as complex and sophisticated as the human body?
They want us to believe in evolution really badly because they want us to think that the rich people are more evolved than
definitely. Exactly.
We don't mean nothing.
It's a lie, yeah. But anyways,
this
thanks, guys.
is the best. I was going to say this is the best way of saying bye. Talking about the subject.
I added you on Facebook though, Victoria, so we can.
Nice one. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Bye.
See you in a bit, mate. We've got someone here that wants to come on.
Right, okay. Right, we need to get Roxy.
You're still on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you're there?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Right, we need to add someone.
We've got someone here, plant-based comedian.
All right, can one of you text it to me? Is it just plant-based comedian? Yeah.
In the comments, I'll try and get his.
How are you doing, Rox? You okay?
I'm good. I'm still in the other hangout just now, guys. On my other backup channel, I'm on Flat Earth Roxanne on another Google Hangout on a panel.
We're not busy at all, us, are we?
No, not at all. And 1 second, just hold that.
Right, anybody's watching now.
I've got some breaking news, everybody. I've got some breaking Flat Earth. I've had an arrival of another flat earther to my house. I've had a live.
Holy shit!
Oh yeah, holy shit. Okay, guys, you're about to see the reality of. Hold on, I'm getting my camera.
Put your screen on for fuck's sake. I want to see him.
Oh, Victoria's begging to see. I love it. I love it. I love it. Here we go. Ready? This is Howie.
I've just killed everyone off in the chat room now. They've all turned off.
Fucking killed me. Never mind the chat room. How's it going, mate? You alright?
Hold on, let me pause it.
Hi guys, been listening to your debate. Well done. Good work.
It was beautiful, mate. I love them. I love them. Such lovely people as well to debate with, and it just shows as well that it can be discussed healthily without calling each other idiots. And do you know what I mean? Like,
I love Brooke and Patrick. I absolutely love you. You're just amazing souls. And even if we've not come to the conclusion that it's flat yet, there's time. Give me time. You'll be there.
Well done to you both.
Sweet.
It was mainly Tom, and then I gave.
Was it? You dominated the full chat there, Vic. To be fair, like
I didn't. Yeah, but you took it. You took it, and then I did like. That's
this plant-based.
The dynamic duo.
What you say, mate?
The dynamic duo. You just forgot your capes tonight.
Right. Okay. Instead of Batman and Robin, I must be Batwoman and. Rob off.
Rob off.
Yeah, it just rolls off the tongue, Vic. Yeah. Oh, good. Well done for doing that. I think there's a real need for that too.
Nice one. That's what I mean. Like, well, no, I ain't got his email address yet.
Give us your email address. If anyone wants to come on, Flat Earther, Globe Earther, anybody, come on. Have a proper discussion, not a nasty bullshit, blah, 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 blah. It's just about truth. It's just about getting together. We're all fucking one at the end of the day. Unless you sold your soul, then I don't want to know.
Yep, he's giving you thumbs up. You just heard the last of what you were saying there, darling. Well said. So have you got someone else that you want to come in with?
No one's in the chat, like, volunteering. So I think we're going to have to put it to an end.
All right, my darling. In the meantime, until you get something more permanent set up for you, I'm happy to open up this platform at any point. If anyone wants to debate
because there will be more people. Whatever. There will be more people that want to debate me. There was a few people in the comments on my YouTube thing, and I shared it about as well. So wait there, Vic. I'm talking, please. Like, you know what I mean? Right. I've completely gone off track now. Right. Yeah. There will be more people that want to. That want to debate me, yeah, right? And probably tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? So big respect for letting me use your channel as well.
Like the platform as many times as need be for this.
Buzzing.
No worries, darling.
Because like we could even get an open debate going. Do you know what I mean? Like with a few people like we had today. It started as just me and Brooke, but then like it just spiraled into this, and it was beautiful. So do you know what I mean? Like the future's bright. That's all I'm saying.
It is. Here's to many more. Then here's to many more. And like I say, once you guys set up, I strongly suggest you add this to your channel as well and do this on your channel. I think the more channels that we can get doing this, the better. The more people that are confident enough like you guys to do it, all ratings to you.
That's right.
I need to set this thing up, don't I?
Right.
I don't want to stop.
Looks like we've got on it.
No, is Richie not doing it?
Yeah, hey, even if there's more that want to do tonight, we can do that tonight. We can do that tonight.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I was going to say, you can stay on live if you want, and if you guys have got more things to say to the group, you can carry on. No, I'm here anyway.
No, we're fine. We can still talk to people. I've got shit to say. I don't stop.
Go for it. No, go for it. And you guys can see the chat room as well as I can as well. So I'm here anyway. And if I go on mute, it's only because, look, I'm going to show you right here. If you can see, I'm on another chat room.
Oh, yeah.
Are you on Sun and Moon?
Yeah, Patricia.
Hi, Sun and Moon.
Are they listening to us now?
No, they can't hear you just now because I'm on mute.
Oh, yeah,
Patricia is talking just now. They're talking about narcissists. They're having a narcissist talk. So they're on there just now, and I'm on the panel just now. But everyone's getting the time to talk and to be themselves. So I'm there on my phone just now. I made a prior arrangement. You know what? I think it's all about the uniformity of this, of being equal to everybody. And just because I've committed to do this, it didn't mean that the platform couldn't be opened. It just meant being, diversifying a little bit. And look, we've managed to do it. Admittedly, I did mean to put it on mute because I thought it was a bit rude for me talking. If I'd put it on mute, I wouldn't have been butting in over saying hello to these guys. So as everyone can see, I'm new to this, but I didn't want to let one down or let the other down.
I'm not being funny. You fucking rocked it, Rox. Fucking Foxy Roxy. You've rocked it. You've not only have you opened it up for us to do our thing, you have literally you've been able to do your thing at the same fucking time. I didn't get that right. Blah, blah, blah.
Big love to you guys. So yeah, carry on talking. And when you've got email addresses for me, ping them over.
Facebook. I'm happy to just carry on me for a bit longer. Yeah, I'm not tired yet, so
everyone else on the panel is talking on Sun and Moon just now anyway, so it's not like I'm on mic or anything, so I can carry on. I want to say, listen, full ratings to you guys for holding it down tonight. I was only just saying to Harry when he got here, I said, look at this is an informed discussion. Yes, there's people in this discussion that have different opinions, but somewhere in the middle there's an informed debate to be happening.
That's what I mean, and it was going off on tangents, and even I was learning new things from that as well. And it's like, wow.
Do you know what I learned?
Just so you know, I've got one conversation going on right now in this ear. I've got you in this microphone here, and I'm talking to you. I can't have both on at the same time, or it's just mad, isn't it? So I've got two. It's just.
You're like,
Roxanne, you're a fucking superstar.
And he's talking to me at the same time as well. He's putting his 2 cents worth in as well.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, that's my training kicking in, isn't it? That must be my training, guys, you know.
I'm well gel that I'm not sat around that table right now.
Victoria says she's well gelled that she's not sat around. You will be soon, though. It's only a couple of days now.
Yeah, but not now.
Oh, no.
I wish I could whiz you up to my table or whiz me down to your table. Either or, I want you either here or be there.
I wish black holes were real and fucking we could just jump in one and jump back out into your picture.
Yeah. Come out. Love it. Well, that black hole's going to be a reality towards the end of the week for you. So you're going to be coming down here one way or the other. So either way.
Come in. We're coming, whether you like it or not.
But yeah, big time. You guys I feel that you guys have pushed the envelope today as far as an organic debate's concerned. You've opened up a platform. You've openly told people you're willing to debate this. You've had, am I right in saying this? Because I listen, I'm trying to moderate this and mediate. Yeah. So I wasn't listening to everything. And I'm apologize just on a playback if I came in with a couple of questions, but I thought it was probably relevant to do that for anyone that was clicking in. I asked JCB, why do you believe on a globe? And I thought his answer was brilliant. He was like, did he say something along the lines of, I never said I believed on the globe?
Yeah.
What is his actual stance? Sorry, can I just ask what his stance was? Because Remember, this is your baby.
No, he's not. What it was, right? What it was with him is he seen my YouTube video calling out scientists that to talk about flat Earth, yeah, right. So I think it triggered him because he thought that I was talking about all scientists, and you know what I mean, thinking that I was calling out everything. And so he thought, oh well, and that's what it was. He didn't actually tell me his stance or anything. You know what I mean? He just wanted to debate me. So I think he just wanted. He said he's debated loads of flat earthers, and they've all got angry with him about when he mentioned certain things. So he was really shocked and like quite pleased that we didn't get angry. Do you know what I mean? We respected his opinion, and do you know what I mean? We had such a healthy debate. It was beautiful, and he's even on about coming to camps and things like that now. So he's like, "Will I be the only flat earther at camp?" And I was like, "Nah." Colin's wife's not a flat earther and things like that. Do you know what I mean? So, which is beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Like we've made a friendship there.
Yeah, he's just
as well. You know what I mean?
Well, he says, let's keep in touch and see where this goes. He's just messaged the group hangout on the back chat of the hangout. It's a nice message that he's just messaged. So he says Victoria has all the ambition. I think we should rally around and see if we can get things progressing by Christmas.
Who's that? Brooke.
JCB. Brooke.
Oh,
yeah,
wow, yeah.
He's amazing.
Oh, I love him. Absolutely. Just, I can't, you know, it's been amazing. I feel like it's like synchronicity. We was meant to do this, meant to meet these people. Patrick was awesome as well, like the two of them. Wow. We was expecting some antagonistic. I was really worried about this. I was sat in the corner, and I'm sure you was as well, Rox, because we had to stay out of it. And I was like biting my finger at times, like obviously wanting to interject, but I thought it's going to go west, it's going to go west. And it didn't. And I was like, wow.
I mean, Tom, you were determined to do this, and you were, Vicky, but for me, this was like out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was. And I, as soon as he said it, I was like, I'm in there. And he's like, no, it's my thing. It's my thing. And I'm like, well, you know, he wanted a team. And I was like, well, okay, then as soon as you say team, I'm there. I'm there.
Right. What it was, is this wasn't a team open discussion. This was just a debate between me and him. And you was trying to chime in on the debate with me and him, and I said that's not fair. That feels, he might feel like he's been ambushed.
That's
you know what I mean? He's come on here to have a debate with me, and then boom, there's 3 flat earthers.
That's fair enough. That's
what I mean. So that's why I told you to stay out of it, and you was like me.
I tried. I did okay-ish.
Say that again.
I had to interject at times, like little times.
I'm a website designer, graphic artist, and I can work a phone pretty handily. I'm good at organising things and getting people to talk. Everybody interested should say what skills they bring, and then so on and so forth. But sorry, I can't read the rest of the message. But see the hangout where there's 5 of us that have been involved in this chat. Leslie's in there as well. That message is in that hangout on Google Hangout, so you'll be able to see it, guys. And you'll be able to go back and forth.
No one wants to.
Even though we're on a live hangout, you can still message inside that hangout, so he can see.
Is it
Scott? Scott, do you want to come on?
Is it Scott?
Scott. He's just come back in Flat Earth Pilgrim. Is Scott?
No, he's playing Rangers.
Flat Earth Pilgrim. Oh no, it's not that. Is that Matt Donnelly?
Might be, yeah. If he wants to come on, I'm all for that.
Do you want to come on?
Give me an email, I'll happily put it in.
It's Matt Donnelly.
Yeah, man,
if you've got an email for me, I'll chime it in.
Yeah, sorry, Scott's playing Ranger. I've just mixed that up. Yeah. I mix a lot of things up. Just please don't hate me for mixing things up.
I hate you.
It's one of my worst thingies.
All right. So when you're ready, give me an email address. But in the meantime, carry on. By all means, carry on.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
What?
So how do you feel it went? Have you got an email for me?
It went amazing. I think it was like almost like bringing truthers together. It
couldn't have gone better. It generally couldn't have gone better to me. Like,
yeah, whether you think that the Earth's flat or not, it was bringing truthers together because there was truthers at the end of the day, and I think that's what we need, because at the end of the day we need to rub shoulders with each other, because they can teach us stuff about what they know, and we can teach them stuff about what we know, and in general we know much of the similar things anyway.
He said he's banned, or he'd go and add you up back in 2 days, apparently saying, I don't want to say it. It means something else, and that isn't smart these days. LOL. So yeah, have a look. I don't want to say the word because Keep in touch. Was pleasantly surprised how much good vibes we had going there.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Leslie and yeah, good group. Each person adds special ingredient of their own. JCB said that as well. I'm just reading the messages as they're coming up. I thought it'd be helpful. So, but yeah, I'm really sorry because I haven't been able to hear the whole thing because I've been kind of tuned into this panel as well. So forgive me if I've missed out massive parts of it.
Richie, are you coming to London?
Richie BFE.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
he's coming.
Holy shit! I didn't know. I didn't know.
He's coming.
Wow.
He's coming
Awesome. Right, we might as well use this minute of time to plug London again.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. And if you want to share the link for John Smith Globalize advert for it, it's like a bit of a promo to give everyone a bit of a synopsis of what's good. Put that in the chat room. I'll add that link in the description for the video as well. So anyone who sees the video will know that's happening as well. And yeah, tell your neighbor, tell your friend, tell your auntie, tell your cousins, tell anybody.
Biggest flat Earth event known to mankind. Yeah, literally. And it's going to be at the best spot that you could pick. Yeah, Speaker's Corner in London. Yeah, and honestly, like, you got to be there. Really, we need as many people as we can get. We need people. We need to show them that this isn't a laugh, this isn't a joke. You see on the internet, there is real people like yourselves that believe and know that the Earth is flat. Yeah, so do you know what I mean? That's it now. Sunday, Speaker's Corner, London. Boom.
Defo. And at the end of the day.
And not only that, I was going to say, if anyone's down at the coast on the weekend as well on Saturday, we're going to be down in Portsmouth on Saturday. So if anyone's within reach of Portsmouth and they want to come along, the weather's going to be really good. We're not going to be rained on. And I think there's going to be a lot of people. There's probably going to be a hefty amount of people down there as well. So,
like from the videos that I've seen, like it looks packed all the time. It looks like it's heaving. There's so many people there wanting to speak and be heard. So, and like, I think you were saying that like people come from all over the world just to hear people speak there, and we're going to see like every walk of life there. So it's going to be. Like I say, the best activism event on flat Earth.
Yep, likewise. And just so everyone knows that's watching, this platform doesn't have to close down this evening. This platform can stay running for a good while longer this evening. I'm in no rush to stop it. I'm in no rush to close it down. So if anyone's in communication with Tom and Victoria, or anyone's got a prior arrangement for going into a debate, you can email us at operationrealness@yahoo.com, and I will send you an invitation to go on the hangout.
At the end of the day, right, we've got a few things going on here.
The only thing that limits me is my phone being used just now for another hangout. I'm on another hangout with my backup channel. It took me a little while to realize I couldn't be on two hangouts at the same time from one Google Hangout account. So that just shows what a novice I am. So I'm using most of my devices right now to hold this down. So I'm not able to actually get into. So yeah, that was probably a waste of time telling people to go to my email. Victoria, if people could put their email addresses in the chat room.
Yeah.
And if not, I'm trying to think of another way to do this. Because I'm not going to stop. I'm not up for putting my personal email address in the chat room. That's all.
Yeah, I can see the chat now. Yeah. I've got the computer right. I've got the computer there, so I can see the chat.
Right, give me a second. Give me a second. I've just got to handle something. All right, carry on talking, and I'll be back in a second. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, right. Anybody who's there, I just want to say we're basically next weekend we're going to Speaker's Corner to do our thing, talk to the people, say what we know, and anyone who can be there then come. Obviously, we don't want anyone to turn up who's not got any true intentions but you're welcome if you have. If you can get there, we're going to travel down. We're going to stay, and we're going to do Portsmouth the day before. And yeah, anything you want to add, Tom?
I've already said. I've already done my little bit.
Fair enough. Roxanne we're going to have to, I think you have to go and sign up or something like that for Speakers Corner, so we've got to do that as well. But it's going to be quite intense, I think. You've got a lot of people turning up, and you've got like the Gwen Towers people and all the other different people that have got issues with this system, and it's going to be quite hectic. From what I've seen on telly, I've never been before, but anyone who's been, if they want to add anything to it, if you want to come on live now with us and talk about anything in particular.
They keep they're on about this Red's rhetoric guy. Yeah, I've seen what he's about. Yeah, he doesn't want to debate. He wants to give people shit. He wants to make flat earthers feel stupid and mock it. Yeah, that's not a debate. That's not what we want. We want healthy discussion. Yeah, an actual discussion, not a shit slinging thing where people get muted and get attacked and things like that. It's not happening. Yeah, we want a healthy debate with people, normal people, not people with a sick agenda. Do you know what I mean? So that's a no to Red's rhetoric. Like jumping on his channel as well. Yeah, right.
At the end of the day, like, just because you've got a difference of opinion doesn't mean that you can't speak. But if you're going to be shit slinging, then we don't need that. No one needs that. What are you going through the comments?
Yeah, this N Clark is a sausage.
Who's about? Dave Marsh, do you want to come on? Have a chat. And you tell your stuff with the moon and what you've done with the moon. That'd be a really good thing. And Richie, do you want to come on? We could just have a little chat between ourselves. That'd be up for it. I'm just checking out the comments now.
Richie,
I'm not used to seeing. Oh, Richie can't.
He wants you to teach him how to do it when he comes down in London. We'll teach you how to do it.
Did you do it the other day?
That's what I mean. Rox took him through it step by step.
Ah, right. All it is, right, is you've got Google Hangouts, and then you get your little message, and then you click on it, and then it says proceed, and you have to click a little icon. You click a tick, and then you click proceed, and then you come on. That's all I do.
Dave Marsh is on the Moon Race, I think.
Yeah, no, he's saying that's his Moon Race evolution. Do you want to come on, Dave?
No, I don't think he does. I think that was him saying he can though. I want him to.
Yeah, be boss. You missed Sheffield. I bet you was gutted, but you had bad ears, didn't you? I'm just trying to read the chats now, because that's why I'm looking this way, because my computer's that side, and I can't see the chat on the phone. So, at the end of the day, we've all got our stories as well, how we came to Flat Earth, and Tom's story is quite unique. I don't think he's said that publicly yet. How did you come to Flat Earth, Tom?
What?
How did you come to Flat Earth? How did you find out it was flat? One sec. You do know we're live, don't you?
Yeah, I know we're live. Do you know we're live, Vic? You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know we're live. That's why I'm trying to interject with the conversation.
Yeah, well, do you know what I mean? I'm not talking to people. This is what like people are doing. They're going live here, and it's a one-track thing. It's an echo chamber. You're talking to a screen. I'm not about that. Yeah, I want to debate with people or talk with people. Not talk to you in the room while I'm being recorded or like that. It's not going on that way. That's
We've done that
people
before.
are doing. I'm not doing that though. But
all right,
that's not what I'm about. So if we can't get anyone to debate, we may as well.
Yeah, we will end it. If anyone wants to come on, that's fine. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes. the lovely speakers corner. Thank you, Flat Earth Pilgrim. Which is that Mark Donnelly?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we're just going to have to call it an end.
Yeah.
Do we have to hang up, or does Roxanne?
I don't know how it works.
Should just hang up.
Right. Okay. Well, good night, everyone. Thank you for watching.
See you in a bit. Thank you.
And
probably see you tomorrow. I'll get I'll get some more people involved. Try and get another debate going. Not with any little idiots like Red Rhetoric though. So yeah. See you in a bit.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. I was just multitasking. So, yeah, Tom and Victoria, they're going to come back onto this platform as soon as there's another challenge for a debate, another challenge for a civilized, informed discussion about this. They're going to come on this platform. In the meantime, while they're sorting out a platform to come on their channels, I'll make sure that I put a link for their channel in the description of this. And I hope this has been useful to some of you that have been in the chat room. I hope that some of you have come away from this with an example of an informed discussion with globe versus flat, and maybe some that are in between. So yeah, until next time, I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. I can't quite see the chat room just now, but yeah, I appreciate you all being here. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.